Well, I say every day it's a getting closer to taking a bath with my fucking toaster.
We're not qualified.
Who are you?
Explorers in the further regions of experience.
I understand. Did you not listen to me?
Then the hell with you.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to the 117th episode of Screaming Into the Void. My name is Samuel the Infamous, and joining us for the first time in a while on account of he's super sick, Devil made me do it.
Hello.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm glad to have you back, man. For however long we have you. And also with us today, irritated at technical things. I'm sure I'm going to irritate her further throughout the course of the show. Green-haired anti-liberal.
Hello. Hi. I'm here. Hi. Go vote for Selena if you have Facebook. That's been my thing for everything I'm on currently.
Yep. That's something that Larry's been pushing that on Abyssal Musings. I've been reposting the links and stuff. I don't have Facebook and I'm not getting Facebook, but yeah, but yeah, that's best I can do for her. But yeah, I don't know, they seem to appreciate it. That's fine. So today, like, we're obviously leading up to an event in this country that is of some importance, some small importance. And so there's a good chance things are going to be political this week and next week and probably the following week, because that'll be the first show after said event, if said event happens. But there are some other things I'd like to cover too. It's kind of fun. So I was having a conversation with one of my co-panelists a few days ago, and I feel as though, like, while I'm not opposed to doing political content, obviously, there gets to be a point where it's almost like all that you do, it's all consuming, and it's in your head all the time, and that's not healthy for anybody. So going forward into the new year, probably earlier, towards the end of this year, while we will still cover current stuff as it comes up, and we will still discuss things that are relevant, because we're not going to give that up or anything, but I'm going to start leaning more into more random or esoteric topics as well, because it's kind of the purpose of the show, or at least it was when it began, was just to talk about whatever. So there will be other topics that have nothing to do with Trump, Kamala, or the WEF. So down the road, I have one of those such topics for today as well. It's just something that I found kind of interesting, and got a whole article and some images and stuff to show, and that kind of thing. But we also have some really cool stuff. Gina Carano gave a speech the other day at a rally, and it's kind of epic, and we have the whole thing, and I don't think that she'd mind in any way if we shared that out here on the show. So we probably will be listening to that later. I'm assuming the two of you have listened to it.
I haven't listened to it yet. I was listening to some other stuff.
She was so nervous. It was adorable.
Yeah. Public speaking is not her thing.
And she even says it at one point. She'd rather get punched in the face than be here talking right now, or something like that. It was great.
But that lends, I don't want to say an air of authenticity, because I don't think she was anything but authentic, but it lends some
humanizes it.
Yeah, she's obviously not a practiced public speaker, and with practiced public speakers, you can never tell if they really mean what they say or not. Yeah.
I think at one point she said but it's that important. Like, that's why I'm here, because it's so important, type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good thing. So we're gonna play that later on in the show. I will probably have Gal do that, because Her internet's better than mine.
You're gonna jinx me.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's been happening all over the place. Everybody I stream with now has internet problems. I think it's contagious.
Yeah.
And,
It's
you
like
know, it could be
it's
oh
like
yeah,
the
we're
digital Sif.
I feel it's
Digital herpes.
Yeah.
or it's coordinated and there's reasoning behind it, but I don't want to go down that path.
Oh, I'm sure there is. Like
Tinfoil hat
there,
a little
there's
bit.
tinfoil hats not necessarily like it's haute couture at this point, man. It's very it's high fashion, to wear a tinfoil hat because I mean this kind of thing coinciding with the nearly clockwork Verizon outlets or outages, because it wasn't just the big one. It's happening like every other day at the same time now. So,
Yeah, the amount of internet problems we've had of late where it might just be small little things like where to go out for maybe a minute or two or something, or it'd be really bad service is weird.
yep.
Like the frequency of it recently. I don't like it.
Yep. We had a local outage yesterday while I was on the phone with my mother, actually.
Lovely.
You know,
And like you can't really blame my internet because my brother's the one that does all the internet stuff and he games a lot. We have really good
Yes.
internet.
That's fair. So yeah, there's some stuff coming down the road. We're kind of looking at, I don't know. So the Hodge twins, right, put out an interview yesterday with a former porn star, formerly known as Laura Jensen. Her name's like Elizabeth Spraggins, I think. Her, which isn't, I mean, she's been open about that. I just couldn't remember if I was pronouncing that right or not. And however you feel about people in the porn industry, former or otherwise, it's kind of an illuminating interview in terms of like the way things are run behind the scenes back in Hollywood and in Van Nuys, which is not technically Hollywood. It was a really interesting, really illuminating video. I'm considering reaching out to her to see if she'll do this show. Just come on and talk about all that stuff because she came off as somebody who hadn't necessarily prepared for the show, but had been reading a bunch of shit on her own time and had been formulating her opinions based on that. She seems to, have a pretty good grasp of the direction that the country's heading in. And one of the things that she said was that she's afraid that there's a better than 50-50 odds, at least, chance that the election doesn't happen at all. That we go into World War III and there is no election.
Yeah, we can't do a changing of hands in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
A world war. Yeah.
So I would be interested to pick her brain about that. But that's something that, like assuming we all survive the next couple of weeks, obviously like reaching out to somebody who's probably much more in demand than, any of us, is a process. Are you as popular as somebody who, did like stepmommy porn for 10 years?
Obviously.
Yeah.
You don't get to deflect my sarcasm, sir. Roll it right back.
So it's that's something to think about for down the road. I might attempt to reach out to her and see if she'll come on and talk to us.
I thought you meant green in stepmommy porn. I was all.
Well, we can talk about that backstage. I got this broken washer over here. Anyway,
look inside there.
So, but the point is that I'm getting at is like I know that especially on the conservative side, and this is something the Hodge twins brought up during that interview too, is that conservative doesn't mean Christian, right? There are Christian conservatives, but they are not the be all and end all of that side of the political, social, whatever spectrum, and this is something that we have talked about ad nauseum. to cut off people who are on your side because they don't fit every single aspect of your supposed morality is asinine, especially when we all have the same enemy,
Yeah.
you know? So, but yeah, and you gotta keep in mind, it's like the people that you see on screen in a porn movie, right? You're not seeing them as people, you're seeing them as fucking objects, which, whatever that means, but there are people behind them. There are real people there who have, opinions of their own. This is a fact. What are you laughing at? Are you laughing at me?
There's real people behind them, Sam.
There are real people behind them, in them,
Yeah.
around them, filming them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was I want to say I would like to say that was a Freudian slip, but I don't think that was really much of a slip up at all. It just kind of, I don't know.
Came
I'm
out.
I'm I'm not gonna go further with this metaphor. Uh,
You might
I don't see this.
inadvertently, just because
I
of
don't,
the subject matter.
I don't see this ending anywhere savory, rather.
Where's Lou?
When does it ever?
Right. So, but you guys get my point. Is like that she's this in this case, Miss Spraggins is, or Mrs. Spraggins, I think she's married, whatever, is fairly conservative. She's got a mind of her own. She thinks about her shit. She's also an American citizen like we are and has a right to those opinions and all that stuff. And I think that if somebody that you may not agree with says something that is right and just, it's worth listening to.
Yeah, but I mean, this is how I've always felt about it. Is I don't want us, I guess you'd call conservative. We shouldn't be doing the same thing the left is, and the left for
Mhm.
years has been very purity testing everything. Either you agree with everything we got here on the table, or you're not part of the club. And like that Liza Blue thing that they did
Mhm.
at the RNC, where they're like attacking her because she twerked or whatever. I don't give a shit. I don't care what you did in your past, long as now your opinions are of a
That was
normal
not
person.
Eliza Blue, but yes.
What?
Ruby Rose, I think.
Oh, Ruby Rose, that's the name.
Yeah.
That's the name.
Liza
of it.
Blue
Yo,
kind of
Eliza
was.
Blue is a piece of shit.
Yeah, I always get them mixed up. The short-haired twerking ones with fat asses.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't care. I don't purity test people. If you were a prostitute and all that shit, I don't care. That's your business. Long as now you're not, wanting to trans children, long now as you don't
Mhm.
want to freaking kill babies, one day before they're going to be born into this world. Long as you're not an evil person, on those things, I could give a crap what your past was,
Right.
I mean, technically, that's a purity test of its own, though. I guess it's more gatekeeping versus.
You're
purity
gonna get
testing.
gatekeeping no matter what you do or
Yeah.
where you are.
Yeah.
That's going
Oh
to
no,
happen.
I'm not against gatekeeping, but like
Larry, that is categorically untrue. I do not get paid for it. I am I am a sleut, not a hooer.
wait. So we can say whatever we want here, but you're gonna censor yourself on slut and whore.
No, I just like the way it sounds when I say sleut and hooer.
It
It's
was
just
very
a fun way to say
couture,
it.
huh?
It just I enjoy the way it rolls off the tongue, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
That's what she
Yeah,
said.
it makes him sound more catty when he's fighting with people. You're such a sleut.
Right? Oh man.
Pompous. It's above them.
It's not bad business. I'm it's not like I'm not getting anything out of it, man. It's just not money. So anywho, but yeah, so that's something to consider down the road. I don't even know if she'd respond to an anonymous avatar on the internet. She might not, but I might reach out to her, and if that happens, maybe she'll come on the show and have a chat with us. That said, I'm gonna say hello to the chat real quick because we did kind of skip over that, and that's totally my fault. First, we got Beak in the chat. Hello.
What's up, Beak?
We got Shadow with us today. Clue channel. Hello.
What's up, Clue?
Obviously, Larry is only here to give me shit. It's fine. Whatever. And I think that's everybody. So, so far. who's in chat. If you're on Twix or Rumble, you can leave chats there. We will hopefully see them. Like Rumble has some like weird issues where sometimes it doesn't show the Rumble chat in the StreamYard side, but it is what it is. But that said, yeah, there's I don't know. How do you guys feel because right now it feels like the Trump side of things is on a really good trajectory towards victory, right? That's what it looks like. But it looked like that last time too.
Like, okay, how I feel about Trump's campaign, or just the
Yeah,
direction
like
the
well,
campaign's going?
just like how do you like how do you feel about the upcoming election? Like how it's going to go off, if it will go off, that sort of thing.
I think if they were going to do something to try to derail it in a major way, like starting war, I think they would have done it already. I think we're getting a little kind of close. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, one day out. Oh, then no, let's bomb someplace. No, I think it's going good, and I think it's a lot of it's self-inflicted wounds by the Kamala campaign. I think he's doing exactly what he needs to. He did the interview with Joe Rogan, which was great.
I haven't watched that yet, but yeah.
It's yeah, I think altogether he's doing what he needs to do. He's not saying anything so bombastic that he gives them a bunch of ammo to try to torch him, but he's keeping on his game, his Trumpisms and stuff that's keeping people on his side and interested in him. There was, his trolling with the McDonald's thing that was just beautiful. Yeah. And then even today, that kind is paying off even more because all these photos came out of Kamala in a McDonald's uniform. And so all the lefts are going, oh, look, proves you wrong that she did work at McDonald's. Ha, ha, ha. And then it turns out that it's her face photoshopped on a girl who died of cancer.
Oh,
so yeah.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So whoever did it actually hurt her, I guess. Not thinking of looking too deeply into the photo they were using. So yeah, it's.
I mean,
I think.
Yeah, that sounds more like it was just kind of an accident. Like somebody went on like Getty Images or some shit and grabbed a photo and didn't realize who it was. But
yeah, they just looked when Kamala would have worked that time period, put in McDonald's employees or whatever, found a picture of a woman, and then transplanted the face. The only problem is, like I said, it ended up being this kind of kick in the dick, and so I think that's what's keeping him on perfect track. Like I said, she'll show herself. He even mentioned it on Joe Rogan. They're talking about having this conversation, and he's all, could you imagine her being on your show? And Joe's all like, oh, but it would be a great conversation. And that's not what he meant. What he meant is she is too much of a politician to come off uncanned. Whatever question you ask her, she's going to try to think of the most politician way of saying it. And unfortunately for her, that ends up in lies and kind of mistruths, like her whole Snoop Dogg thing. I used to smoke pot and listen to Snoop Dogg, and everyone's all, actually his album wasn't out till after, that's the thing. She tries to come up with ways to make herself sound more appealing, more likable, more all these things. Only problem is it keeps blowing up in her face. And so I see.
Oh, I was just going to say, that's hilarious that you bring that up, because on my drive home, I can't remember why, but I was thinking of her little flub when she was asked who her favorite living rapper was, and she instantly said Tupac. And then she realized and then tried to flounder her way away from it. And I'm just like, you're such a dumb hoe.
Oh, man.
Oh, you're talking to a black person and they asked you about rap, so of course you're going to say that Tupac's your favorite, except you didn't listen to the fucking question.
Yeah.
God, I hate her. I'm assuming you were talking about Kamala.
Tupac's been dead for a quarter of a century.
Yeah. No, he's not. Him and Elvis jam out all the time.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They
while
do.
While they're flipping burgers in Des Moines.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it's funny too because so there was a quote unquote model. Well, I guess she did like modeling work in magazines and shit years ago, but who came out recently and was talking about how I think it was Trump groped her or some shit like back in 1993 at Epstein's brownstone, which was quickly debunked because as it turns out Epstein did not purchase that brownstone until 3 years after the date she gave.
Yep.
Yeah. And she couldn't use that date. Everyone's all, well, why didn't she just say then? Because Jeffrey and Trump stopped talking to each other by then. Like everyone who they don't get it that there was a defining line where Trump essentially kicked Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago and told him, I don't want nothing to do with you, because he found out how freaking dirty and disgusting the pig man was. So yeah, she had to take it back to a time period where we knew that they actually had contact and they had been in pictures together. Unfortunately, yeah, it turns out he didn't have his house there yet. So her whole argument, her whole story fell apart on her.
Yeah.
Really quick, I hope I'm not repeating something that was said while I was gone, but I don't recall Sam mentioning pinned at the top of his chat. If anyone feels like tipping him, there is a link.
I have not mentioned that at all. That's why it's in the pin chat. I was just going to leave it there. If y'all feel so inclined, it's there. If not, no worries. So, hey, Cybertosin, good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in a minute. So, well, I mean, I've seen you on other channels like, Truism and Stormcrow and such, but not over here. So good to see you. So, yeah, but I don't know. I'm concerned that there may be a last minute, like Hail Mary, like all of a sudden, oh, here's a major disaster. The whole country's got to get behind and pull together and shit. And unfortunately, we can't hold the elections at this time, kind of shit. Like I agree, Devil, that the likelihood of that is pretty low this late in the game, but I'm not discounting it entirely. Go ahead.
Wouldn't we want to just then say, okay, at the time of this date, this many people voted? If you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, we can't hold the election. Well, there's been early voting, so I guess we're just going to have to take what we got now.
Mm-hmm. Well, on top of shit like it seems like they're preparing for the vote to go forward as it appears, because apparently New York is allowing people to vote up to like 3 days after the 5th. Right. And why would a Democrat stronghold like that put something like that in place if they didn't intend to go through with, whatever it is they're going to do, but voting day is going to happen if that's the case. So I agree with Devil. I think it's very unlikely. I just think that, I mean, there's always a chance, man. Maybe they get desperate and they fucking nuke something.
Yeah.
So, and part of what makes me think that is because Harris herself has stopped campaigning. She's got fucking Obama stumping for her now. He's taken over her campaign.
And that really doesn't do her any favors like they think it does. People still remember what it was like under Obama. Stop it.
Yeah. Yes, they do. I just wish he would go away. Like, retire to some fucking island somewhere.
Go find a new chef to bang.
Drown? Shoot and then drown? Let's see. Shadow says, why do we care about voting? Trump, Kamala, whatever the libertarian guy's name is, we're going to see social unrest and blood in the streets. We care about it because it's part of the process, kid. Mm-hmm. Like, if we abandon all that that this country is supposed to be, then there's no point in having a country, frankly. That's why we care. So, because there is something worth saving, and if we don't try doing it the right way, then doing it the bloodier way is a bit of a moot point, because we're not saving much of anything then. If we just skip directly to that, that's supposed to be the last resort, right? We're supposed to try every avenue other than fucking bloodshed. until it becomes clear that it is the only way. And frankly, I'm not going to be the first to fire a shot.
Yeah, like it's got to be real fucking bad.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not real keen on shooting at my own countrymen either, you know, regardless of how they feel about me.
Yeah.
That's not something that fills me with you know, any sense of anticipation. You know, I actually dread the day that happens. You know, so nobody said we can save it, but we should try. I think we should try. I think we should do everything we can to save it. And if it ultimately fails, it ultimately fails, and it probably will. Most experiments eventually, all things come to an end. Entropy is a fundamental, basic law of existence. You know, all things will end. I'd just rather it not end in my lifetime or my children's lifetime or my grandchildren's lifetime. You know, if at all avoidable. You know, because I don't know that. While I think something like this could be attempted again, I think if this fails now, it will be many, many, many years, hundreds, maybe even thousands of years before something like this is attempted again successfully. So, um, you know, and maybe I just want to hold on to stuff until I can't, you know. As they say, you know, the tighter you grasp things, the more it slips through your fingers. I think that was Princess Leia actually, but she was right. She was right. You know? So yeah, it's just I, to fight for your country doesn't always mean physically, right? And I think that you know, like some of us, we uphold certain ideals, and those ideals need to inform every action we take, even if it comes to something like an actual in the streets, neighbor against neighbor civil war thing. Um, if you cannot hold your head high, right, then what was the point? What if you sacrifice being the or at least aspiring to be the kind of person who is worthy of an experiment like this, in order to save it, then you really haven't saved anything, you know. So, but that's my opinion on it. You know, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we can get through this without anything terrible. I do think there are some issues uh, you know, that are larger than the U.S. itself that are influencing things. As you guys know, I very much think that there are foreign actors who are controlling things from behind the scenes. My tinfoil hat is screwed on tight. I stapled it down like Deadpool in Deadpool and Wolverine with his hair system, you know, so it doesn't go anywhere. It's always on. You know, I just don't always let it show. I usually wear like a beanie or something over top of it so people don't look at me weird because I stapled a bunch of tinfoil to my forehead. Hey, Zillich, good to see you. Yeah, they're doing everything they can to. I well, see, that's the thing. I don't think they're doing everything that they can, but I think the few things that they're not doing that they could do would spell the end of this country, one way or the other. You know, this is one of the reasons, like we were talking a couple weeks ago with Horny Alf. I don't believe that China is a physical military threat to the United States. I mean, sure, they could be if they wanted to, but I don't think that they have even the inclination to do that. Not really. You know, sure, they sent a bunch of you know, unmarried military age young men in peak physical condition and seeded our country with them. But I honestly think that's really more of a backup plan. They're they'd be much wiser, and the Chinese are nothing if not patient, right? To just kind of let what's already happening in this country play out, you know, to let us eat each other alive, to let us destroy ourselves, because then they can just swoop in and take over whatever remains after the ashes cool. So said even if he wins, they won't certify him because yeah, well, I mean, you know, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. January 6th and the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment isn't the 14th Amendment the one that like ended slavery? I think. Are you thinking of the 13th Amendment? The 13th, I think, is the one that has the insurrection clause in it. I might have to look that up in a moment. Both my co-hosts have disappeared on me, so I have no idea where they are. They're here. They're here. They're just muted. Well, yeah, let me look that up for a minute. Hey, Gal, the 14th Amendment is the one that abolished slavery, right, and established the rights of all citizens. Oh, she's got a handy copy right there.
Yep. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Section
Okay.
2. Shall be
Well, I believe that it was the
1968.
13th that I believe it was the 13th that had the insurrection clause. Like anybody who's like convicted of whatever
Shall
the
have convicted shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
yeah
1865 as well.
yeah
Neither,
okay
neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, 13th, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. I skimmed the wrong part, but so 13th Amendment.
yeah. There should be a clause that prevents anybody who participated in any kind of like insurrection or cessation movement from running for public office. I think, which is what they were trying to do with Trump. They were trying to get him convicted so they could invoke that amendment, that clause in that amendment, to prevent him from legally running. So, but which is funny.
Okay, so that's the 14th Amendment. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability.
Okay, so Zillich, that was not on you. That was on me. I'm the one who got this mixed up. You were correct. The first time around, you were correct on that. I think that is the same. Is that the same amendment? Because that one came about in like 1871, I think, which was a few years after the Civil War. And I think, yeah, there was an act passed around that time that also pretty much stripped all states' individual right to secede at any time from the Union, which they had prior to that. Right now, you have to get it ratified by like 2/3 of a majority in Congress in order to be able to start that process of seceding. You can't just say, "Oh, we're not part of you anymore." That's why while I applaud what Texas was talking about a couple of years ago, I was like, fucking do it, whatever. But it's not that simple, legally speaking. Although, as we can see now, the federal government is probably less capable of enforcing those things than they'd like us to believe. Because honestly, it's just a bunch of people sitting around in a fucking semicircle saying this has to be this way. What are they going to do? Fucking, they'd have to deploy the U.S. military against the Texans, and half of our military is from Texas.
So when I got back and you asked me that it was the 14th Amendment, I thought you were specifically asking because you knew that I had that within reach. So it was
no,
funny.
I was in the process of like looking it up on my phone, and I was like, well, she's faster at this than I am. So,
well, we're not wrong. Technically, I now have a pocket-sized one that I carry in my saddlebag. That I don't like calling it a purse because it is around my hip and my leg, so it's a saddlebag.
Yes. It's a bag on your saddle. Anywho, Aaron Laura, good to see you. You haven't missed too much, just the first 35 minutes of the show. It's fine. So it'll still be up, assuming we don't get taken down, which I don't believe we will. After the election, if it goes the wrong way, yeah, we'll definitely get taken down. But I think right now we're probably okay because I got bigger fish to fry. So I don't know. I hope nothing really horrendous happens in between now and then. I hope it goes off smoothly. The one thing that I can say needs to happen is that any votes counted after the 5th ends should not count. Period. If they aren't counted on the 5th, then they shouldn't count at all. So because they're not that's a delaying tactic. That's not a legitimate voting practice as far as I'm concerned. It's got to be done on voting day.
I think the only exception to that is like absentee. It has to be the what's the term called in snail mail?
Absentee ballots. Yeah.
Yeah, but the snail mail, the post.
If it's postmarked, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah. If it's postmarked prior to that day, but if it's postmarked after that day, no, it should absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm meaning. So,
yeah.
If it's received after, it's counted as long as it's postmarked. I guess even for mail-in ballots, technically, that's how it works in Colorado.
I think that's the rule. I don't agree with that rule. If it's received after the day and not counted till after the day, I still think it shouldn't count. I don't care when it was postmarked. That's on the mail. And that sucks for that person. Like if they sent it and it didn't get there because the snail mail sucks, I get it. But if we do not, like if we make one exception, we're going to make another exception. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get that, but like overseas military. Mm-hmm. Overseas mail can take even longer.
That's true. But they also, I think, get those ballots like way ahead of time too, don't they?
I don't even know. Like, I'm terrible, and I didn't vote when I was in the military. But
fair enough.
Yeah,
Shadow's
I guess I could have. Yeah.
Shadow's just saying this because my stick is bigger than his, and he likes to be disciplined, told what to do.
Oh my God. I had to deal with ballbusters doing weird conversations like that. I'd prefer not to have them here.
Yeah. Yeah, you missed last night's. It got weird last night on a couple of different shows. Some of that was my fault. Some of it, not all of it. I'm not taking the blame for everything.
I was so freaking exhausted yesterday. It was such a long week at work.
You're a flake.
We'll get the fuck over it.
Can't help it. You're not showing up for your responsibilities.
Keep that expression on your face, Gal. Sorry, I just found that amusing.
Funny because I'm eating nuts.
Bottle. Yeah, we got it 2 weeks in advance. Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. It should
got mine last week, I think.
Yeah. So I and I know people give me shit about this. I'm going to the poll on the day. I'm going to vote in person with my fucking ID on the day with the paper fucking ballot because that's how we roll here in Wyoming. And I know there's a big push on the Trump side of things. They're like, hey, you got to get in there and show them how early voting's done and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm an on the day person. I believe in on the day. I think, and that's how I always have been. And I probably always will be. And the fact of the matter is just because, early voting happened, honestly, I think that just gives them more time to fucking, to find out how many ballots they need to make it up.
So it's a double-edged sword because what happened the last time was machines mysteriously broke the day of and only the day of. So a
Mhm.
lot of people, they just took 2 hours off of work or whatever. There are those problems as well that are, but I don't know
Sure.
how Wyoming, if they even have like electronic failure, if they hand count them or whatever.
It's like we don't have a particularly large population either. It's a lot easier to get people in and out, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of our communities are very small and isolated. So you just
Yep.
go to like, the nearest polling place, boom, you're done. There's like 5 other people there. Like where I do it at is there's quite a few more other people, but it's pretty efficient. It's you go in, you get your ballot, you sit down, you fill it out, turn it in, you walk the fuck out. I mean, it takes however long. I mean, if there's like a decision you're agonizing over there, you could probably be in there for a while. But if you already, know your issues and know who you're voting for and all that, it doesn't take very long at all. I mean, you're just filling in some fucking circles with a pen,
Yeah.
you know. So
Um, I don't know how other states do it, but with Colorado, there's a tracking system for your ballot. So you get an email when your ballot is sent out, and when it's tallied, counted.
mhm.
So you at least like know when it's coming. Then you get it. I don't mail it. You can drop it into the bins, like outside the courthouse thing.
Right.
You can mail it back, but I don't trust the USPS. So fuck that. And then the things I've been hearing with the ones where it's like electronic and it prints your ballot,
Mhm.
that things are getting swapped when they're printing it.
They are. It's one of
Um,
I don't think we should be getting more into technological solutions than we already have because of that. Because
get rid of that.
machines are not only prone to failure, they're also prone to sabotage.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
with like the mail-in ballots, at least it's not a freaking printed one that you're relying on like a system to
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
can be swapping the shit. Now the thing with the swapping it is I've only ever heard that it was, voting for Trump and it was changed to Kamala. I haven't heard the reverse, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't been happening. Like it could
Right.
be both.
So
So just putting that
yeah.
out there.
I mean, looking at everything that's out there, she's like, I don't know, over 30% behind him on almost every measurable, thing out there that talks about like where they are in terms of the race. She's sitting at like a very uncomfortable like 32%,
Yeah.
across the fucking board. And Trump's like, quite a bit further ahead of her on that. He's up in the 60% range across the board, which is a huge, huge margin, right?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, this is kind of it's a lot. It's a lot to overcome. And it's kind of starting to look like the only way it can be overcome is with shenanigans,
Hmm.
you know?
And I don't know if they think that they could pull that off even.
Yeah.
So that's like I'm somewhat in the camp where they're kind of like hedging their bets and we'll get them next time type of thing. Just with the way there's like Hillary saying the shit that she said of did you hear what she said about
Recently,
like
no.
strong men? There was like a Viva clip on it, but something to do with like she understands why he's pulling so strongly with men because men tend to lean more towards a strong man or something like that.
Did not her husband get elected?
Uh, but then there's things like Lizzo saying what she did about if Kamala wins, the country's going to be more like Detroit. Saying it as if that's a good thing. But at the same time, like,
Oh, I hadn't heard
that is
that.
a good thing, or are you trying to subtly sabotage the fuck out of the campaign because you know she's not going to win? Like, there's shit like that going on where
It's That's so fucking funny.
I don't give a shit if you're from Detroit. And it was like right after Trump had said that in his Detroit rally that if Kamala wins, the rest of the country is going to look like Detroit as a negative thing.
It's funny, they asked like people in Detroit about that, and like literally they're like, why the hell would you want to be anything like this place? Like, what are you thinking?
So ridiculous. And like Gretchen Whitmer did a stupid little short video or something.
Yeah, I think I saw that, but I blocked it out. I don't know. That Gretchen Whitmer chick, she something about her just gets under my skin. That is makes it fucking crawl. Makes me feel like I have to scrub on the inside of me.
Yeah.
Oh, just, I don't know. You know, I mean, maybe she's perfectly lovely in person. I'm sure the FBI agents who colluded to kidnap her thought so. You know, or they
And the
would not have
one
been conspiring with her.
citizen conned into pretending to do it with them. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say that probably all of the you know, old folks that she had shacked up with like young, healthy-ish, you know, COVID patients trying
That
to
she
kill all the
pulled?
old folks off probably disagree with that.
Yeah, probably. I would assume so, at least.
Yeah. So it is what it is. They don't even know what a woman is. How would they know what a man is? They don't need no man anyway, and they'll never understand us. Yeah. So that's why I said I like how did Bill Clinton get elected if people are after strong men. I'd say there's probably some shenanigans there too, because he's not a man, he's a pedophile. They're not men. They're not even human.
Yeah.
That's right. I said it. Also, for the record, I am not suicidal, and nor do I have any desire to end my life in any way. So if something happens, it was the Clintons. So,
Like they would get convicted.
oh, but you know.
Well, we would already know. Like, we know about how many of their friends have, like, you know, committed suicide by shooting themselves in the back 4 times.
Mhm.
And yet still somehow no one can do shit about it.
Yeah. Bottom of the bottle says they want you to know that DT is winning. So when they rug pull us, the people will have a reason for civil unrest. Then comes martial law, Hegelian dialectic 101. See, that was my concern too. And the reason that I am concerned about that is because we all thought Trump was winning the night of election night in 2020 or in 2019 as well.
Well, because he was.
Because he was,
till a certain point, and the hockey stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, like they can't even. They must be having like bad feelings right now, because like even in Miami, the county that Miami's in, which is usually a blue stronghold in Florida, they never lose that. In early voting, it looks like they're going to lose that. So, I mean, they're probably getting signs already that it is not going to go good for Kamala. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why they've got Obama out in front of microphones fucking stumping for her now. You know, instead of her, it should be her. If she's running, it should be her. You know.
Yeah.
But she's kind of pulling the same shit that Joe Biden did back in the day when we all started calling him Hyde and Biden. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, if they're getting the same information we are, and they're in a little bit of a panic mode, it doesn't seem like they're. It does make you kind of nervous, because it doesn't seem like they're as panicked as they should be. Like they should be running around like a chicken with their head cut off, but they're just using lame kind of tactics, like calling him Hitler. You know, let's try to connect him to Hitler as much as we can in these last couple of days. That's a little late to try to pull a tactic like that. It's just.
I mean, somebody put out a thing the other day. I think it might have been. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, it was an image of like politicians who'd been called Hitler in the past, and there had like Richard Nixon on there, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, you know, And it was just a list of dudes who had all been called that, and then Trump was obviously the most recent one. But here's the thing: is it's like that Hitler card gets dragged out every single time. There's a candidate who maybe has just disagrees with a certain way of thinking, a certain way of doing things, right? And when I say this, I'm not talking about liberals specifically, or even like extremist Republican or any of that stuff. What I'm talking about is what we like to call the uniparty, right? The people who actually run shit, right? They get upset when there's a candidate who looks like they're going to win or does win, who does not 100% fall in line with their agenda. It's more of that purity test shit, except nefarious.
Well,
And yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that. Well, that's exactly why I've always said they couldn't have stole the Democrats couldn't have stole the last election if the Republicans weren't on their side about it. The fact is they wanted Biden just more than Trump too. And that's why they let the theft happen, because there was so much evidence, so much stuff that if they would have all stood behind Trump, there would have had to been those questions answered. And once they were answered, as we've seen them being answered now, like I said, every time they do an audit of the last election in one of these states that ended up giving it to Biden, it turns out that, there was 80,000 fake votes and all these things that would have overturned that state's thing. The only way they could have got away with that is by the Republican Party not putting up a fight. And that's exactly it. So as bad as Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, as guilty as they are for, doing what they did last election, it's just as much the responsibility of the people in the Republican Party who didn't stand up with Trump and say this is bullshit when there was plenty of evidence to do so. So, yeah, that's the uniparty right there in a nutshell.
Yeah,
they said Biden's better.
Frankly, everybody who follows that line of thinking in public office needs to be fucking, washed out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
They need to be retired. And I'm just going to hang that word in the air there. Put whatever implication you want behind that.
Yeah.
But
if any politician, if your loyalty is not to the people you're supposed to be serving, your constituents, you should be run out of office immediately.
Yeah, if you were a public servant, but your sole interest is personal, right? Because that's what it is. They're afraid that something's going to happen with these guys, that they're going to end up losing access to something that they personally benefit from. If that is your interest, if that is your sole motivation, you should not be in public office at all. You shouldn't even be allowed near public office, as far as I'm concerned, because you obviously are incapable of acting in the best interest of other fucking people, right? Specifically your constituents. It's like, how many times did Liz Cheney go in there and start doing shit that 93% of all of fucking Wyoming was directly opposed to?
Right.
Which is why, by the way, we ran her ass out.
Montana needs to run John Tester out. He's been in fucking office forever, since I was a kid, and I've hated him since then. Of course, when I was a child, it's based off of my parents' political views, mostly. But
yeah, but I mean, for a specific instance, Liz Cheney was on the January 6th commission, right?
Yeah.
She was one of the two quote unquote Republicans who were on there, right? And she was all about taking Trump down. And what about that is part of that right there. That sealed her fate with us. But the biggest reason for that is because while we have a small population in Wyoming by comparison to every other state in the union, and actually by comparison to a lot of large cities, we were the Trumpingest, votingest state in the fucking union in 2020. Right? Nobody per capita, nobody in any other state cast more votes for Trump than we did. And then she goes and pulls some shit like that. Right. Supposedly representing us. Well, yeah, she is absolutely stupid. There's a couple of chats here I want to bring up. Bottom of the bottle says, differences, Agenda 2030 is around the corner. Things need to happen fast, as per the WEF. This is true. However, from all appearances, a lot of the strongholds that the WEF has had and a lot of the places that they've had under their thumb are starting to rebel against that. There are signs that the tide is turning against them, and that their timetable may be totally upset about, over this. I mean, we look at Holland, look at Italy, Hungary, for instance, are just saying fucking no to this shit. They're saying no to immigrants. They're saying no to fucking bug food next to real food in the grocery stores. They're saying no to anything that comes in and tries to destroy their cultural identity and make them part of this like amalgamous blob called the EU. They're backing out. They're the other problem with that is that BRICS is on the rise too, but that's a different thing. But we're seeing pushback on that across the board. I mean, even Argentina, for example, Argentina is doing fucking great. As good as could be done under, I think, these circumstances. Malay's kicking ass down there. People are being forced out who were under the thumb of the WEF, like in New Zealand a couple of years ago when they threw Ardern out on our ass. So I think there's even one or two prominent Germans, right, who are members of like the EU Council and whatever they call their version of like a Continental Congress or whatever, who are actively speaking out against this shit, against the globalism shit. So there is hope there. It's looking like their plans might have been upset just enough that it might throw the whole thing off, which is good, which is great. That's fantastic. That's the other reason that I think we shouldn't be voting for, certain things here in this country, like Zillage brings up here with the October. What if the October surprises Gavin Newsom? 6 months ago, I would have agreed with you 100% on that, but I think it's actually too late for them to announce another candidate.
It's way too late. Yeah, like it would throw the whole thing into like chaos last minute. The last thing they want to do is have Democrat voters be confused when they go into the ballot box. They want them to be thinking one thing: Kamala Harris.
Right. So, and honestly, if they really wanted her to have a better shot across the board, they really should have gone with Shapiro. But they didn't want to do that because he's a Jew. Oh, and that would go against the whole let's simp for Palestine thing.
Identity politics screwed them, but it's been screwing them for years. They're just too stupid to see that that's one of the issues that's hurting them. But whatever. They lose. Great for me.
So, that's how I'm tying those two comments together, just because Gavin Newsom is a functioning digit of the he's a cog in the WEF machine, same as some of the other people out there, the people who pulled Biden's strings, who were pushing Kamala forward, who nobody wanted, and that's just in this country. I mean, there's a bunch of people you could point to. I think current and past politicians in New York. Hell, I think even Gray Davis is attached to them at some point. He's the guy who completely destroyed fucking California's economy.
Oh yeah,
So, and that was a while ago, by the way. That was prior to Schwarzenegger. So.
Yep, that's why we got Schwarzenegger, because he did such a bad job. He freaking destroyed the economy here so much that when they essentially kicked him out of office, we got Schwarzenegger, who was such a disappointment because he talked really good. But he ended up being like cowardly little bitch, which, big surprise.
Yeah, we all kind of had hopes for California when the governor got in. Yeah, he didn't really do anything of note. I mean, I would say arguably he didn't actually make things much worse, but he didn't really fix anything either.
No, because he came in there and he wanted to be big politician. He had bigger plans, and so he did exactly what politicians do: nothing. He could have done like a Trump. He could have went in there and said, "Look, I'm not a politician. I'm not that guy. I'm somebody who's running on fixing this state and actually doing that." Instead, he went in and he started playing ball with the whole, this is how we run stuff here, and didn't accomplish anything for his whole time there.
Well, Andy, we aren't going to say he talked well.
He talked like this.
Fuck your freedoms.
He really wanted everybody to know about Maria Shriver. and how awesome it was to marry a Kennedy. They figured they were trying to finally produce a bulletproof Kennedy with the governor.
Okay,
But then-
Amrish.
This comment from Andy.
Yeah. That's and of the 1 out of 5 who didn't, almost all of them live in Jackson Hole or Albany County.
No, what he's saying is there's 5 people that live in Wyoming.
Oh yeah,
And 4 out of the 5 people
There-
who live.
and Sam produced a couple of them, so I mean it's
That's not true.
Really?
All of my children live elsewhere.
I was like, no,
you didn't have to
say
tell
it.
people that. Like I gotta
And
step on my joke, fool.
only one of them's old enough to vote anyway. But yeah,
I don't know
no.
if that matters
There's
to the Democrats.
we have because of like the recession and a lot of the sanctions against the energy industry. The economy in Wyoming, while still better than some other places, it's not optimal for keeping people here. So we've actually lost quite a bit of population in the last 4 or 5 years, and so we're down below 500,000 people statewide. You know, there like I said, there are cities that have way more people than we do. Hell, Denver metro area has more people than the entire state of fucking Wyoming does. You know? And I mean just Denver proper. I'm not talking about the fucking the other areas attached to it. Yeah. Yeah. So
Well,
it
you only
is what
count
it
as
is.
half a person, so
Right? Yeah, it's sad. We're the flyover state, but we produce all of your motherfucking coal and oil needs. So, you know, suck it.
no, that was a shot at freaking Gal. What are you talking about, dude?
Okay.
I said she only counts as half a person.
Oh, right. Sorry, I was in my own zone there. I apologize. It is what it is. But still, we also produce all of the country's energy and a good portion of Asia's. So
And we appreciate it.
Do you? You're in
do.
California.
Yeah.
Californians don't appreciate coal.
actually,
I do.
when they shut down the
Give them
docks a
people
while
black
back,
lung. Hell yeah, thank you.
you know, you remember when they shut down the docks on account of COVID and all that stuff, and we had all those like tankers and fucking shipping or shipping convoys and shit that was just floating out in the ocean waiting for the word that they could deliver their goods or whatever. That hit us pretty hard because we ship a fuckload of coal over to Asia.
So I'm currently deleting a political text that I received, but right before I was hitting move to trash, I see Michelle Obama's name and I'm like, what the fuck? And it's one of those like 900% house match. Unlocked for Michelle Obama's rally for Kamala.
They bringing out the big gun.
But even just in none of Trump's rallies are such and such's person or such and such person's rally for Trump.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck is that?
There are people at the Trump rally who come there, like the Gina Carano thing. But no one's going there for them. They're happy they're there and they want to hear them talk and stuff. But no one's all like, I'm going to a Trump rally to see this person. You know, forget Trump.
Well, and
But
you're
with
not
Kamala, that's kinda
saying
how it is.
I'm going to Gina Carano's rally for Trump. Like,
Yeah.
Also, Trump was at that rally.
If you're running for president and all your rallies are headlined by other people, that's not a good thing, right? I
But-
mean,
No.
So that's my point though, because Kamala's not going to be there. It's a rally on her behalf, but she's sitting there hiding and taking a break. She keeps taking all of these breaks. It's like daily for Trump, non-fucking stop. He went to a fucking rally after last night's 3-hour-long conversation with Joe Rogan. He left for a rally that he did immediately after that.
yeah, but she's so busy being vice president who has absolutely no responsibility unless there's a tie. Like literally, like she acts like she's working her ass off doing what? It's
Right. So it seems like it's probably a good time to segue into the Carano speech. Gal, I put it in the private chat if you don't mind.
Got it.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. I figured maybe that would help you.
Yeah, I could rail out against the fucking coming New World Order all day long, every day. You know that. So, oh yeah. So, yeah, this is Gina Carano's speech. We can pause it for commentary at any time, that kind of thing. But I do want y'all in the chat to hear this if you haven't already. It's a great fucking speech.
This is going to be a much different speech than all the ones you've seen. Hi, Las Vegas. It's nice to see you again. Hi.
Are you wanting to do the whole thing?
Yeah, we will. We'll go ahead and do the whole thing. If we get hit for it, we get hit for it. But I don't think that that's going to be an issue.
So do you
So
want me to speed it up a bit? Because it is 8 minutes, 21 seconds.
I think it'd probably be all right.
Okay.
You know,
that's fine.
unless you guys want to. But hold on before we go
Yeah.
on. Bottom of the bottle says, kind of wanted to hear your viewpoint, but maybe next time. So I'm going to go up to your last chat here. I think this is what you might be talking about. I honestly believe that things are going to change very soon. We'll make 2020 look like nothing. I think there's a very good chance. Yeah. I think that regardless of how this goes, things are happening worldwide that are definitely going to affect us here at home. And I don't know how that's going to turn out. I hope that we can go forward okay, but it's not looking like it's going to burn us out, or it's not going to burn us out as a country. So yeah, I'm kind of waiting to see on some things like the what was it, like the 40,000 troops North Korea sent north
Yeah.
to
Well, and
Russia and Ukraine. Yeah.
Xi Jinping with his speech to the troops and shit
Mm-hmm.
in China.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are moves being made that are probably going to affect us. In China, in particular, when they go after Taiwan, that's going to be a big one because we require currently. I am a big advocate of bringing all our factories and shit home. We have everything we need here to manufacture all that same shit. But currently, we rely on Taiwan's manufacturing capabilities, particularly for electronics. And if China goes to war with them, Taiwan's not going to win. Period.
Right.
No. That's kind of a weird thing for me because that's exactly it. We're almost required to defend Taiwan because the chips that they produce are the most advanced chips in the world, and they sell them to us. They don't sell them to China, which is why China wants to take them. Is not because this unification of we want. I mean, they do want everything to be China, so there is that. But what they truly want Taiwan for is they want to get their hands on the most advanced chips, and they want to control the chip market in the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And since we get every single one of our military chips from Taiwan, if they were able to take Taiwan, they would essentially be able to manipulate what we could do with our military, which would hurt us if we did have to go to war with China.
Mm-hmm.
So we almost are required to freaking defend them because we require what they have.
Right.
And so yeah, that would be my biggest fear. The great thing is Taiwan is a freaking island, and we by far, like China, as far as military, they're the only other military in this world that can stand up to us. No other military can come close. The only one is China, and the only superiority we have over China is our Navy. Our Navy by far is the biggest Navy in the world. We control the seas essentially. So China doesn't even come close. They have like one carrier, one super carrier. We have like 7 or 8.
Yeah, and their Navy tends to, when they get into a skirmish, win or lose, they tend to skedaddle pretty fast anyway. They don't take a lot of ground with their Navy.
Yeah. So that's our one thing is China knows if they tried to take them because of the Navy and we interceded, they couldn't take us on the sea. They just wouldn't be able to. Probably why they haven't tried anything yet.
If we were smart and they were dumb, it requires both. But if we were smart and they were dumb enough to like put the vast majority of their active duty fighting force in one place. We could just glass them. You know, they have nukes too, but they don't have anywhere near the arsenal that we do. And while we did disarm a bunch of nukes over the treaty with the Soviets, we did not get rid of nearly as many as we said we did, and we know the Russians didn't.
And they don't know about all of our nukes. That's the thing. That's
Yeah.
just what we've admitted we have. Like America's ever going to admit exactly how much we have and where they are and how advanced they are.
And we are the only country that has ever demonstrated a willingness to actually use that shit.
And the fact is we don't have to use nukes, because I've always said this with people freaking out about we're conflict with Russia would end up in a nuclear war. The only way any country is ever going to probably use nukes again is if it's a threat to the homeland. That's just the truth of it. Russia's not going to shoot a nuke because we shot down one of their ships. They're not going to. The only way they would shoot a nuke at us, China, same thing, is if we were landing craft on their shores, because then it's a threat to their actual losing their country. That might be a threat to the level where they would use a nuke. Otherwise, nukes are just a big talking point and a big threat. You know, whoa, nukes are on the table. Are you really going to shoot a nuke? Really?
I mean, we did twice, but
before everyone had them.
Right.
Now
the
it's usually self-destruction.
Right. And that's the idea, is that if everybody's afraid of the other guy using nukes, and everybody has nukes, nobody's willing to do it, because that means everybody dies. Everybody loses, nobody wins. I do think that there's one or two leaders out there who are crazy enough to do it. Kim Jong-un, for example. You know, but I don't think he has anywhere near the capability to do it that he claims he does.
Yeah, he doesn't. But
but if his crazy ass sister gets in power,
yeah, she's crazier than he is. But there's certain places I don't want to have a nuke, because the only thing I would fear a nuke for is if it's ever in the hands of a religious zealot, because they don't care if their country dies. They don't care if everyone dies, if they're looking for something in the afterlife that justifies it. That's why I don't want Iran to get a nuke, because with their, religious ideas and stuff, they might start World War III and shoot off a nuke to destroy Israel, just because they see it as some way to, bring about whatever the Muslim rapture is, or whatever it's called. I know they have one, whatever it's called, the end times. So that's more of a fear than actual countries that have, their own political ideas. Because, like I said, ultimately those politicians don't want to die. They don't want their kids to die. They don't want their country to be destroyed. So they're not going to shoot off a nuke unless, like I said, the chances of that happening are going to, a threat to the homeland.
I was actually more concerned about actual nuclear, like World War. I absolutely think is coming at some point. But as far as you're right, you're probably right about the nuke thing. The thing that really made me fear that nuclear war was a possibility wasn't even in the recent memory. It was decades ago when Pakistan and India acquired nukes nearly simultaneously, right? Those two countries border each other and they fucking hate each other. That was concerning.
Hey, Toasty, what's up?
But hi, Toasty. But yeah, that was concerning. But in the decades since, they have not actually launched nukes at each other. So I don't know. That was probably unfounded. But at the time, it was worrisome.
Yeah, there's so many movies from the 80s where everyone's all like, oh my God, we're 1 second away from being nuked to death. Oh my God, I'm seeing they're like, they're not going to shoot off a fucking nuke because you took down one of their ships. They're going to both, sit there and complain and bitch and say you owe us something for it. But otherwise, they're not going to shoot a fucking nuke.
Yeah. So like shit might get bad, but it's probably not going to get Fallout bad. Caucasian Sasquatch, good to see you. How's the tropical weather? He's off on some fucking island somewhere relaxing right now. So, hey,
somebody let him free on a native population of some tropical island. What is wrong with you people?
I mean, You know? Sasquatch in a Speedo.
Yeah. Just walking along the beach talking about jism in space.
Right? Dude, I
Space
hope you're
boom.
doing that, and I hope you're fucking recording it.
Isn't it Jizz Man?
Yes.
Jizz man in space.
Yeah.
And everyone's all like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yue, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a bit either.
Yeah.
I got all kinds of people coming in today. This is good deal. So I hope bottom of the bottle that helps answer that. I feel like things are going to get bad, but I think it's going to be more locally bad than it is globally until later on. And I think that if the election goes away from the current globalist commie shit that we're currently seeing in office, at least for a while, I don't think it's going to fix the country. I don't even think it's going to save the country, but I do think it's going to give us a minute to breathe before everything comes tumbling down. And that's not nothing. So, but if that helps answer your question, meantime, we are going to get back to this speech here because I think it's something y'all should hear. So,
Nope. You do use him.
I was just bringing it up.
No, I brought it up at the
now.
same time as you. Right.
A lot of celebrities say, I'm leaving the country if Donald Trump is elected. I will not be leaving the country if someone I don't like is installed in power. I plan on staying here and fighting it out. That's what patriots do. That's what the people who truly love Americans do. And those celebrities who threaten to leave will leave anyway once they've installed a government that seeks to destroy us.
It's so true.
70 years ago, both my grandfathers made their path and built incredible companies, starting from the ground up. One right here in Las Vegas and one in Reno, Nevada. I have two of the best examples of what a truly great leader is. And how important it is. My Papa Jack was quoted saying, lead men by going the extra mile yourself.
Now,
I'm an actress who got my...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember right, doesn't one of her grandfather have like ties to Lucky Luciano and shit?
Probably. Because
like
it was
when she says like built a business in Vegas 70 years ago, I'm thinking,
it wouldn't surprise me since nothing happened without Lucky Luciano's permission back then.
Yeah, Vegas was built by Mormons and mobsters.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I start professional fighting right here in your mixed martial arts gyms in Las Vegas. Thank you. I'd rather be being punched in the face than giving a speech right now.
I love how she just laughs.
But I'm doing this for America. I'm doing this because this election is so important. It's so valuable. I didn't actually start voting until I was 2020. And I realized that, my gosh, there is such a prejudice here. I was voting for who I thought was the best candidate. And that was Donald Trump. And that still is Donald Trump. I was targeted, discriminated against, shamed and fired from one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world. They fired me at the height of my career, and I went out to, I know, Disney. They deserve that.
Right here, she's 100% right. I love how she's actually interacting with the audience too, because that's what she's used to. She's used to talking with people and not like giving speeches. And so this is kind of amazing that she just still manages to be herself up here, despite the fact that she's shaking in her boots. Because
you can hear it in her voice. I have the same thing.
It?
When you get nervous, you have that little kind of shake in the back of your voice. You can hear it. She's very nervous.
Yeah. But what she says next is fucking epic.
It's amazing.
Thank you. You guys have been paying attention to my story. I appreciate that. I mean, they've gone out of the way to make an example out of me, but I think by the grace of God, He's helping me make an example out of them.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was so good.
I'm currently suing Disney with Elon Musk's and X's backing. I have never even spoken to Mr. Musk, but this kindness he has done me and many others, I feel is something you only see in the movies. I am so grateful to him and the X platform. Without X, we truly would not know the truth of what is happening around the world and would have to rely on the corrupt media. The corrupt media, Donald Trump bent over his knee and broke their back, exposing them.
I love how she puts that too.
I know.
Exposing them.
Like the strength that she got in her voice to say that was very telling as well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like you can see that she believes it.
Yeah, the first time she got to this point though, and she says Donald Trump put them over his knee, I really thought she was going to say spanked.
Yeah.
After that, but she
Yeah,
didn't.
me too.
Yeah.
Also, like what, bent over the knee and gave him a whooping. And
Well,
for who they truly work for. Worldwide, they are targeting Elon Musk and X to silence and control him over freedom of speech. That's something we pay our American governments to do. Why would a government who is busy manipulating the system and filling their pockets ever respond to the people's voice, which the people's voice has become the Republican Party?
so weird and true. I'm not-
The Democrats have suffered.
Yeah, the Republican Party doesn't speak for the fucking people.
that's exactly Republicans. Yes, the party. No, the party is just as bad.
Did
as
she
the
say
Democrats.
speaking for them?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I mishear her?
Yeah. Go back.
No, the respond to the people's voice, who is busy manipulating the system and filling their pockets, ever respond to the people's voice, which the people's voice has become the Republican Party.
See, I don't think the Republican Party is the people's voice. I think it's their
So
voice.
that's not what she's saying though. Like she's saying that our voice is what.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, like we the people have
We've
supplanted
become.
the Republican Party.
Yes.
Okay, I got you. That makes a lot more sense.
That's how I take that, at least.
I would have said
like-
MAGA. Just to,
Well, even then,
Yeah.
you could apply that to like people's voice. You could take that part out and insert MAGA, because essentially that's what MAGA
Yeah.
was in the beginning. Was just a movement of people who were sick of shit that was happening, and more or less did take over at least the less Washington side of the Republican Party.
Right.
yeah, right now, like that's one thing you have. People talk about the kind of infighting and the division that you have on the Democratic Party. There's same on the Republican Party, and the Republican Party is new Republicans and old Republicans. The old Republicans are your keep the status quo the way it is, keep Washington the way it is, where we give you a million promises, do nothing for you, but keep voting us in to keep the Democrats out. That's all that is. The new Republican Party, which, like I said, doesn't really have a name except for MAGA at this point, is, enough of that. It's almost like an offshoot of the freaking Tea Party, where it's like, let's actually talk about lowering taxes. Let's actually talk about giving our freedoms back. Let's actually talk about shrinking government instead of growing it, which is a pretty radical thought, since all government does is grow bigger. So,
yeah.
The Democrats have suffered no accountability.
That's right.
I will tell you my personal belief. A vote for Kamala Harris is no other than a vote for a shadow government and greedy corporations who will walk over our dead bodies and turn around and use those bodies to keep themselves in power.
Yep, yep, yep.
Just look at the 325,000 children who have gone missing. Maybe we should be keeping that body count on the news.
Yeah, probably. Like CNN's COVID death counter.
Mm-hmm.
Just how many
I want
children.
to tell you, Las Vegas and Nevada, I respect you so much because I lived here. I bartended at the Wynn. I know that you're a 24-hour city. The people don't know when they're not from Nevada. They think, oh, are there schools there? And there's families here. There's patriotic families here who are the best at what they do. They're the best chefs. They're the best salespeople. They're the best real estate people. And they're the best performers. Nevada, you're going to show up, and you already have showed up, but we need to continue that on. Because we all saw, and we can all see how it can happen on election night. We need to make sure that we put the pressure on, we do not let up, and we make this an overwhelming majority vote for Donald Trump.
I agree. 100%. Yeah. So that's what's got to happen. It's got to be so overwhelmingly huge that it cannot, any overtaking can only be seen as what it is.
Yeah.
Which is cheating, which is
Yes.
fraud, yeah, we got to make it as big as possible. We tried last time around, and honestly, in addition to all of the shady shit that happened with the midnight balance switching and all of that shit, I just think honestly there weren't enough people who stepped up and fucking voted in the first place for either side. Really,
Yeah.
this has been a consistent problem with this country, anyways. That getting people of voting age who are eligible to vote to actually get up off their ass and vote is a problem. Always has been. Only a fraction of our population ever does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they purposely make it a little more difficult in person than it needs to be, solely to probably get people to not come to vote because they're like, oh crap, I gotta freaking it's gonna take 2 hours or 3 hours. Oh fuck this shit.
Well,
yeah.
But not just that, but you got a bunch of people out there who are like, well, voting doesn't do anything. Voting doesn't matter. None of this matters. It's all going to be the same fucking people anyway. And to a degree, they're right about that. But the problem is like that attitude is preventing, people who may have voted from voting because they're like, oh, well, gee, I see your point. It doesn't matter what we do. They're just going to do whatever they want anyway. Like we don't have to allow them by the consent of a governed, right?
Yeah.
We don't have to let that shit continue, but we need to stand up as a people in order to put an end to that. So
I've never understood that mentality. Like, I understand it, but I guess I've never really supported it. I don't know. It's just, I can't wrap my mind around the thought of just giving up and not doing it. Like, complacency kills is always, like, even before I was in the military, and that is a common phrase there. Like, that's always been a mindset that I've had of, like, I'm not just going to sit back and be complacent.
Mm-hmm. Even if they're going to steal it, even if they're going to freaking cheat, you fight. Because you don't have another choice. You have two choices. You fight or you lay down. And I'm not going to lay down. I'm just not.
There's the off chance that doing something, no matter how terrible and seemingly small and insignificant it could be, can turn the tides in whatever it is. There is absolute zero chance sitting back and doing nothing will ever get you what you desire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wayne fucking Gretzky.
Right. Well, Wayne Gretzky was the GOAT.
Yes.
But that's said, like, even if you look at the modern Libertarian Party, and I'm not saying that they're all that in a bag of chips either, but what they are doing is they're out there stumping for Libertarian candidates, right? They're holding their own rallies. They are doing all the things that you need to do to get noticed in this country. And you'll notice they are the only third party that comes anywhere near the two main parties, right? In terms of exposure and numbers and votes and that kind of thing. And they're still nowhere near it, but they're way ahead of everybody else because mostly it's just guys sitting around saying like, oh, well, we're the Green Party. we're green, vote for us,
Mhm.
and that's as far as it goes with them. They're not doing the fucking work, right? Even
Yeah.
people who vote third party, and there's an argument to be had that if you vote third party, you're basically throwing your vote away. I disagree. I think it's your vote. Cast it how you fucking like.
Right.
But even taking that into account, right? There are people who vote libertarian. They haven't received much traction in terms of actually getting candidates in the last how long they've been active, like 40 fucking years, something like that. But they are out there. They are visible. People are seeing that it doesn't have to be one or the other. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but you got to get up off your butt and go do it. The thing doesn't happen if we don't do it. It's kind of like to take it to a kind of a different angle. One of the biggest differences between like tree hugging, crystal worshiping hippies who go around praying at flowers and shit like that. So what they do is they're like, well, if I manifest, if I put this energy out there, it will happen, right? The difference between that and an actual pagan is that, yeah, we do the rituals, we say the prayers, we do the whatever we need to do, but then we get off our ass and we go work towards making it happen, right? The ritual, all that is just a thing to get you in the right mindset, is to focus you. It's all
Mhm.
it ever does. Prayer, I would say, is very much the same way. If you pray for a thing and you just wait for it, nothing's going to fucking happen,
Right.
Yeah.
right? But if you pray for something and you work towards it, right, that prayer gets you in that mindset to make the thing happen yourself. And who knows, maybe Providence out there sees how hard you work. The gods help those who help themselves. That's all I'm saying. And the same thing can be applied here. If you want to see change in this country, get off your fucking ass and do something about it.
Yep.
There's even like that story, I don't know what to call it, like if you've even heard it, but like where a person can pray for the assistance in a flood where they're sitting on their house, like the roof of
Yeah.
their house.
I sent
Wait,
the helicopter. I sent the boat.
yes, that.
Mhm.
I don't know what
It's a
not
parable.
proverb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a
There we
parable.
go.
Is what I'm thinking.
Because proverb was in my head and I'm like, I can't fucking something like that. But the other thing I wanted to say when you were talking, Sam, did you watch Pregame on Static's channel?
No, I missed it. I got tied up with work.
We were reading a spell. It was an article with a spell to keep Trump out of office. You should watch. You should go back and watch. It's really funny.
Do you happen to have that?
The spell?
Yeah.
Let me see if I don't think it was shared. What's funny is before we got to the actual spell, so like we were reading the article, before we got to it, I'd asked Static, I was just like, wait. So for this spell, for whomever's casting it, what stops people from, as they read through this article telling us how to do this spell to keep Trump out, what's stopping like me from turning around and just swapping things out and making it for Kamala? I'm trying to find it as I'm talking.
Not a damn thing.
It's called the blue. It's called the blue wave spell or something. Yeah, that could you turn it to a red wave. Gal ran into problems when you needed a crayon, and she has Ethan offers.
That's kind of why I want to see it. I want to see like what the format is, because there are different types of like ritual spells and whatnot, and prayers and that kind of thing. And some of them have to be very, very, very specific, particularly if you're invoking very specific things. But some of them are easily changed.
This guy essentially says, do it whenever you want, do it however you want. It's the lamest fucking thing you'll ever read. It's stupid.
Yeah. I bet I got some old curses around here somewhere that would probably put it to shame.
It's in the private chat.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
It's a whole article thing, though.
So, wow. Yeah. All right. I gotcha.
Yeah.
We might take a look at this ourselves here in a little bit, just because I think that's funny. But let's go ahead and finish up with
yeah, there's not much left.
I'd like to just share a couple quotes that I think are pretty, I don't know, things that I like. I'm skipping a couple pages here because I know that I think Trump's ready to come on.
This just made it.
There's this quote that I think is very appropriate for what a lot of us in the room stand for. And I think it's from the Mr. Robot series. So let me read it for you. Some people are just born to fight, I think. It's not that they're born brave. It's not that they're born strong. It's just that the universe has decided that this one will have grit and fire and steel in their blood. And it'll be tested, this cosmic metal of theirs. They'll face trial after trial, be broken and damaged in countless ways, but this one was born to fight. Maybe it's not the life they would have chosen. Maybe they'd love to lay down their arms, but they were born to fight. It's what they know. It's what they do best. It's all they can do. I want to encourage you to never give up. Cast your vote. This is our first and most important step towards saving America. It is the healthiest act. It is the right thing to do, so we do not look back and say we didn't go through the motions of the best possible outcome. Don't get cocky. We've seen how easily votes can change in the middle of election night. Make this election overwhelmingly obvious.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a great speech.
Yeah.
I truly hope this is the start of a great awakening and not a world where the puppeteers say, by 2030, you will own nothing and be happy. I'll leave you with a Bible verse that is much easier said than done, but I pray for the strength for us and for me to uphold it. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I, send me."
Well said. Well said. Well said.
Like, that was no perfect speech, but it was so perfect.
Because it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even just the way she left, like, it was the perfect ending to that speech. And she just kisses, waves goodbye, and leaves. Like,
like, you know, it was very human. Like, even when Democrats say like crazy shit and whatnot, like if they're genuinely speaking to the crowd, right, you can always tell the difference between a prepared speech where they just flub over something that they're reading and another one where they're trying to you know, they maybe they have a gaffe, right, but that doesn't necessarily mean, like, everybody who ever does public speaking has gaffes. I don't hold that against politicians on either side, because it fucking happens to everybody. It's happened to me, you know, on this very show, probably this very episode. You know, so I'm just not yeah, that's just part of public speaking. It's part of being human, you know. But the way she did that, you could tell that she meant the words that she said, that she wasn't just reading them, and that's the difference.
Here's the thing. It wasn't a written for her speech. That's her words. You know it, because anyone who writes a speech, when it comes to something, I'm going to say a quote from something. They don't use Mr. Robot. They use this is from this famous person who you all know, and you know, so you'll respect his words if I use them. That's not the case. She's all like, "No, this show I saw, and they said this and it was awesome. I'm going to put it in my speech." That was her the whole way. All that was written by her, and that's what makes it's the most authentic thing you'll hear.
Like, she had to skip, like, what, 2 to 3 pages to get, like, to where she needed to be, because if her speech was too long, you know?
Yeah, she's like, "I wrote this thing and it's going to go on for a while. I better cut this short."
Yeah. Like, being brushed in my ear, like,
Yeah.
to wrap things up. Like, she probably had like 5 minutes outlined or something for her. Not outlined, but like set aside.
Right.
And it was at like 8 minutes, and she's like, "Oh, fuck." They're
Yeah.
yelling at
I disagree that was a gaffe clue. But whatever. So, yeah, it's, I don't know. I found that to be a very good speech, right? You know, what's her name? Ruby Rose, when she did that speech at the RNC, right? Her speech was fucking good. You know, I know there are people who have issues with her who, you know, think she was probably paid to be there. She might have been. I don't fucking know. But the speech itself, the speech that she wrote, the speech she delivered, the one where she, despite her vocation and how she got famous, how she got rich, right? she took time out of her day to praise not one, but two men, one of whom was her own father, and the other was former President Trump, who, may very well be future President Trump as well. And not just like they weren't empty praises. These were heartfelt praises, and then she got a bunch of shit from the fucking Christian
Sure.
Right about like, oh, what was she doing there? And I was like, she was giving a speech, and that speech was obviously written by her, and she obviously meant what she said there. I don't have
Wait,
an issue
people
with
were
that
giving her
speech.
flack?
Oh yeah, because she
Oh, yeah.
she got famous with smut.
That's why I was when I was trying to. I said Eliza Blue. I was
sorry.
talking about her.
Mhm.
Talking
Is
about the
this
one,
purity
not-
test that comes up every time.
Right.
Sorry. I thought we were still talking about Gina.
No. I was making a comparison in terms of like the difference between like a prepared speech by a career politician and a prepared speech by somebody who had to write it themselves the night before.
Yeah.
Like this. And I think these are good. These are good things that we're seeing come out. This is a great thing. Also, as y'all probably know, I like Gina Carano. I think she's a pretty awesome person. I enjoy most of her movies, even if I don't think she's the greatest actress in the world. She's not. She's okay,
Mhm.
but she was a hell of a fighter back in the day, though. That's where I know her from originally.
Yep.
So that cyborg fight, holy shit. But anyway, but she seems to be a really genuine sweetheart of a person by all accounts, from everybody I've ever talked to who's had any dealings with her whatsoever. She seems to be somebody that you would want to know. Like you go through life, you meet people, some people you don't want to know, some people you do want to know. And she seems like she'd be in the latter category, which is very cool.
I may have said it, maybe not here, but 2022 is when I met her in person. It was at like a signing for a con, and it was July 5th, whatever, July 3rd, I think. My brother and I get up there, and we're in the accessible line, which means like we're in the front of that line because we were the first ones there. The accessible line goes first every time. So we were like the first ones in there, and it's just a signing. It's not we're taking photos with her that we paid for. Like you bring whatever you want, she'll sign it. She comes around. She's just like, you guys want a photo? We're just like, sure. And she comes around the table and just takes a photo with us with our stuff that she signed and everything. And like after the photo, I turned to her and I was just like, I just wanted to say that you are amazing. I think that you're such a huge inspiration for so many people out there and even just for little children. And like she pulls me in for the biggest hug. It was just so real and wonderful. She's just such a great person. And she was just like, thank you so much. And she just grabs me and hugs me. And I was just blown away. Like, and Nathan Fillion, we did a signing for him, and like he was really funny because I was dressed up as River Tam from Firefly. And he was just like, who are you? Or who are you supposed to be? And I was like, oh. And he's like, I'm kidding. And he like made sure to shake everyone's hands, like firmly, looked you in the eye, like had a conversation with you. So those are like the it was amazing. She's amazing. If you have any chance to go to a con that she's at, I highly recommend it because she's just so personable and it's so great. But it's like those are my two most memorable ones of doing that with. I think I've only done one other one, and it was voice actor. But both of them just stick out in my memory because they were just so real and personable. I don't know, but Gina's especially, it was amazing. And it was also the first time I met Jay too. So that was fun. But
Nice.
Yeah, she's great. Sorry.
Nice. No, you're good. I mean, I've lived in the sticks most of my life. I don't go to like conventions
Yeah.
and stuff, so I've only had the pleasure of meeting two bona fide celebrities in my entire life, but both of them were very cool. One of them was who I've talked about extensively on the show is Edward James Olmos of a lot of different fame actually. Did Lean on Me. He did Mi Familia. He did Battlestar Galactica. He was in Blade Runner. I mean, the guy's a fucking legend, you know. So I enjoyed meeting him very much. And then the other guy was a guy who was known professionally as Edge. He was a wrestler. I'm trying to remember his given name.
I can't
Chris
remember.
something. Yeah, I met him at a fucking wedding at a senior center. He was a guest, and I was working the wedding.
Oh.
He was like the guest of the sister of the bride's husband or some shit like that, you know. So yeah, it was and he was just kind of there. And then years later, because I didn't really follow professional wrestling, I still don't, but one of my brothers did, so I got his autograph for him because I was trying to figure out who this guy was because he seemed kind of familiar. And he was very cool. Wanted to talk about hockey. Apparently, he really likes hockey quite a bit. And then I saw him later on an episode of Mind of Mencia before that shit got canceled. And later on, he was on Vikings for like the last couple of seasons. And he plays Shetel Flatnose, who goes with Floki to found Iceland, which was kind of interesting. He's actually quite a good actor. I was very surprised by that for a guy who used to get dropped on his head in a ring.
Sometimes it happens,
right? So, but that's it. That's most of the other famous people I've met were politicians and not like showbiz. So
maybe he wouldn't have been a great actor before getting dropped on his head.
Maybe
that's what
possible.
Did it for him, made him crazy, because I feel like you have to be a little bit crazy to play multiple different characters well.
Certainly could be one of those things. That's true. So speaking of people wanting success, I think this is an interesting segue that the gal brought up. I didn't know anything about this until just now because, like I said, I missed weekend pregame. So,
yeah.
So
yes, that's what I'm saying, Cavitano.
Scroll back up to the top. We are probably not going to go through the entire article because it's fucking long as shit.
And regarded.
But we're going to get down to the destructions here shortly. Apparently, this was published by somebody called Michael M. Hughes. I'm not going to follow him.
I want to pose a question. Mm-hmm. What do you see in the image? Scroll down.
That's a candle.
Looks like a tampon.
Yeah.
To me, it looked like two people screaming, looking downward. And then Yep. But that was the first topic of discussion with this article, was that image. So I wanted to know.
What it is a tampon inside the curl of a large wave, but but yes, I see what you're talking about. If the string was fire, sure. It was like, what the fuck, man?
I'm not even gonna say what it looks like to me.
I didn't see the tampon at first. I saw two people like looking downward, screaming. Mm-hmm. But the guys saw a tampon. And then I saw the tampon.
Oh, man. So this guy is talking about, he says, even if you've never considered doing a magical spell, your country needs you now more than ever. That line alone should discourage people from doing this. And here's why, right? Because there are a number of religious faiths in this country and a number of agnostic people who scoff at this kind of shit in the first place, or atheists or whatever, who don't believe in this any more than they believe in Jesus, right? This kind of thing is not their kind of thing. If somebody's asking them to essentially participate in something that belongs to a religion that they are not a member of, right?
Yep.
That would be off-putting to me. There are Christians on the left. Like, they're not good Christians, but they are Christians, and this is anathema to their entire fucking belief system. You know? So, I mean, sort of. They do some stuff, but anyway. So yeah, I don't know. And the whole thing, by the way, this is the most, I went down and I scrolled down and I did actually read through the spell itself. And this is the most basic bitch Wiccan nonsense
I mean, it sure seemed like it, but
It's
I really needed you to weigh in.
this it's almost like oh, what did she call herself? Silver Ravenwolf wrote a
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
of fucking Wiccan books way back in the day. I don't know if anybody else besides me and Gal are familiar with who she is, but this seems like something she fucking wrote. You know? And she was the most milk toast fucking like, everybody gets along with everybody kind of fucking hippie Wiccan out there. Yeah. For fun fact for those of you who don't know, not all of us pagans get along with each other either. So it talks about how it's an emergency. Goes on to talk a bunch of shit about Republicans and Donald Trump and why they're going to result in the end of the fucking world and dog whistles to white supremacy and terrorism and all that shit. And the usual stuff. All that fascism for dummies. Aha! That's a Bible he's holding up, by the way. Just saying.
Oh, see, and we didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they memed that cover over it, but
It's
that's
a
a Bible.
terrible meme. That's what we focused on Thursday was how god awful that meme is.
Right. Yeah, the squash says reads like Wiccan Cliff Notes. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that.
it does. It kind of does. I'm hoping I'm not offending anybody out there who listens to us on the regular, but I don't like Wiccans. So,
I find this hilarious.
yeah,
Goes to do spell. Candles cost too much.
That's good. So yeah, talks about swallowed his poisonous orange Kool-Aid, aiding and abetting. Okay, so I think maybe the Kool-Aid metaphor has been played out, right? We talk about, oh, you drank the Kool-Aid. It's like, and I get where it comes from, but I don't think everybody who says that understands the context, right? That was like Jonestown, right?
Yeah.
The Kool-Aid was laced with I forget if it was arsenic or cyanide. I think it was cyanide.
It was leaning towards cyanide. I almost said that. So
And they killed over 900 people with that shit. They convinced them to drink it because they convinced them that Jim Jones was the next coming of Jesus Christ on earth, right? And he's like, one day, he's like, yeah, despite the fact that we built this elaborate tax dodge in fucking Bolivia, we all need to die now. And the ones who wouldn't go along with it, he had shot. 900 fucking people in one go, right? So I get where people are going at with this, but I think it gets used in a lot of places where it's just not appropriate. Like, like if you're for Kamala Harris, I wouldn't necessarily say you drank the Kool-Aid. I'd say you're an idiot, probably, but
delusional.
yeah, but the whole Kool-Aid thing has a very specific connotation that I think gets like used in a way that's far too broad for the circumstances that came from.
It's the overuse
so
that takes away the meaning, just like usual, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, it goes on about the blue wave, and we're just skimming this because, like I said, it is very, very fucking long, and honestly, it's not very well written.
Yeah,
it's kind of boring until you get to the magic stuff, and then it gets silly. In other words, voting is our collective way of saying you're fired. That's cute.
Yeah, that's the other part, like trying to be funny.
I'll admit that crack right there is kind of funny, right? Because that was Trump's whole thing back in the day. You're fired.
It was actually like it was still going when 2016 was coming around, and like he was still on contract. Did you watch the Joe Rogan interview
with Trump? No, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Because he explains like what happened with that, because there were 14 seasons in 12 years. And he was still technically under contract, and they were trying to talk him away from it because it was so successful. Like that show was so freaking popular. And they couldn't talk him down from the ledge, as it were.
Yeah.
To
well, yeah, then this gets into some really wild hyperbole here too. You know, the whole like Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, Green, Socialist, or other to come to the aid of their country and throw Donald Trump and the treasonous, complicit, criminal GOP out on their asses. We're standing on the edge of an abyss, America. It's time to put all of our collective spiritual energy into the fight. I can't help but do it with that kind of boisterous.
Oh yeah, no, that's how it reads. So
Yeah.
you
Oh,
gotta
I fucking knew it.
join us.
us. You don't need to be a witch, a Wiccan, or a magic practitioner, you fucking tool. You can be any religion or none, spirit or an atheist. Okay, no, you can't. Okay, because that's not how that works. It doesn't work if you don't fucking believe in it, dumbass.
Saying right here that, like, if you don't respect it, you can still do it because it means nothing. That's how that reads to me. Like, what?
This is why I hate Wiccans, because they're just like, oh, we'll just manifest it and it'll just happen, despite the fact that we don't really believe what we're saying, and we're really just doing this because, you know, it's like book club but with candles and such. You know, fucking. I hate it so much. It's so fucking retarded. So yes, spells can work. 90% of the spells out there that do work, however, require not only belief on the practitioner who casts the spell, but also upon whoever it is the intended target. Whatever the spell is, it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Doesn't matter. Belief is required, right? It doesn't even have to be a lot of it, right? Just like foot in the door kind of belief. Like, you know, I think that maybe something could happen there. That's enough for something to happen, right? Generally speaking. However, there is one fucking practice that doesn't give a shit if you believe in it or not, right? And this ain't it. This is bitch stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, folks out there, don't fuck with voodoo. Just don't. It's not worth it. They don't care. Those gods do not care if you believe in them or not. And they've got nothing to do with their time but fuck with mortals. So just leave all that shit alone. So, but yeah, this is some bitch made shit here. All right. So we get down to the actual thing. So the timing, because, you know, timing's very important in ritual magic. It's not, by the way.
I can't wait for you to get to the timing.
Yeah, do this ritual as frequently as possible until the election, if possible. Okay, how is that a good? That's not. Oh man. So generally speaking, when you're doing a thing of this nature, you know, some inside football for y'all about you know ritual magic. You're usually invoking a power other than yourself to take care of whatever it is that you're asking for, right? You know, it is kind of like a prayer with the extra steps. If a little kid in a grocery store is tugging on mommy's coat saying, mommy, 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 I want that sugar. Mommy, 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 I want that sugar over there. Give me that sugar over there. Please buy that sugar for me. Mommy, 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 mommy. How likely is that kid to get that sugar?
It depends on the parent.
Right. But generally speaking, you annoy somebody enough, they're not going to do what you ask them to do.
One would hope. I feel like there are some parents out there that.
Yeah, I would say it's. I don't want to say 50-50, but there are plenty of parents that will give in to their kids if they just are annoying and stupid enough.
Okay,
I've seen it working at the.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm saying the odds are you're probably not going to get exactly what you want if you annoy the thing that you're asking to do what you want.
Yes.
You know? So yeah, this many groups we're doing this blue wave spell on Halloween night, October 31st.
Wait.
That's
Did you finish that noon is the best?
Yeah. Noon is the best. Midnight is also a good time, but do it whenever you have the opportunity. It's there's wiggle room. There's a lot of wiggle room there. They like to. That has more to do with getting your head right than it does with anything else. You know, there are certain things that work better during certain times, like with phases of the moon, which actively affects tides and the waters in our own blood. Right. You know, but this isn't about that. It's under the full blue moon on October 31st. So, I mean, there is something to that, except the fact that Halloween night's not really like there's nothing auspicious about that night on particular. That's a construct of Hollywood. You know, Halloween is, like there's some ritual significance to that, but it has to do with not being dragged to hell by the god of the dead in Celtic mythology. So, it is what it is. First time the moon will be visible to the entire globe, which is a neat astronomical fact, and I will be on the lookout for it just because I think that's cool. Better time to work spells against Nazis. Okay, so now we're throwing the N-word around. Dude, I'm gonna say it again. These people would not know a Nazi if one fucking offered them a free shower. I'm just saying.
Yep. True.
Or bought them a free train ticket. All expenses paid by their fillings. All right, I'm done with that.
See, I posed an important question because they said please join us at 11:59 p.m. on Halloween night.
Which, by the way,
Pacific or Eastern or GMT?
I'll be willing to say it's probably Eastern. It's probably some fuckstick over in New York, New Jersey, or some shit.
My thought was Pacific, California, but
yeah. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. The timing is all wonky, so you can't do like a worldwide kind of thing like that. If it's time specific, if it's got to be done at a certain hour, right?
Yeah,
it cannot be done worldwide. You can't do it like that because of the way that fucking time zones work. It just doesn't work. It's also kind of just dumb in general. Components: blue candle. It's got to be blue. I recommend a glass enclosed novena prayer candle, or but any type of candle will do. Like a votive. Could I get a blue votive candle? Right? It's itty bitty, but whatever. You can print out and apply the bind Trump sigil to the candle. If you wish. There's a bind Trump sigil. I can't wait to see that shit. I can't wait to see that shit.
so
if Trump was really the demon that they claim him to be, right? You know what happens when you bind a demon, right? They don't stay bound forever, and they tend to hold a grudge against whoever did the binding in the first place.
Yeah,
like
a little bit.
This is why I don't fuck with that shit. A small red candle, ideally one that has never been lit. That's interesting. Red candles are typically used for making bad things happen to people, not just binding. So that's interesting. That kind of gives away the whole thing here. Black and white printout of the United States, blah, blah, blah. Blue paintbrush and brush, crayons, markers, or colored pencils. Blue paint is especially good because it is largely water. Again, with the moon reference and the title shit and all that.
So I do need to clarify here that it says or devil. So I can eat the crayon and still have a marker and it'll work fine.
That's true.
Just stop eating the damn crayons.
But why?
Maybe it tastes like blueberry. I don't know.
Carry on.
Someday they're gonna find out they cause cancer, and she's just,
or she's just gonna stop pooping altogether because of all that wax built up in her intestines. Just gonna block everything.
Yeah, she's gonna have a big like rainbow colored brick of shit in herself with a crayon mass.
Right.
Thank you. Cheers.
Just the blue ones though.
I like green.
Fair enough. The Justice Tarot card. So, okay.
Yep.
No. Or print of one. That's no.
That's not how that's supposed to work either.
It doesn't work like that. You can't just get your own fucking tarot cards, right? First of all. Secondly, you can't use one without the rest of the fucking deck. It doesn't work like that. And third, you don't.
That's why this is so lame, because it's like literally, if you can't get a tarot card, you can always just use a Garbage Pail Kid card,
right?
It's fucking so stupid.
That's 100% accurate, by the way. You can supplement in ritual magic. You can actually supplement your fancy ass fucking items for pretty much anything that sort of remotely resembles it, and you get the same fucking results. You don't have to have a blessed athame to cast your spells. You could use a fucking plastic butter knife, right? Spirits don't care. They don't give a shit about the difference between the two. It'll hurt
If I
more when
was
you cut your hand with it, though. I'm just saying.
if I was a spirit, I'd be like, if you're not even gonna put in the effort, asshole, I ain't even fucking being here. I'd get the fuck out of there.
I mean, it depends on the spirits. If you go in the demon route, most of them are pretty fucking stupid.
Don't talk shit on my demons. Kiss my ass.
You telling me that the guys you got below you are like intellectual and
Yes, I demand excellence. If I found out they were going to rituals with butter knives, I'd be like, you little fuckers.
be more like spam statues instead of like real sacrifice.
Yeah. Sacrifice a lamb, they throw out a lamb chop on the plate. I'm gonna be like, no, you better get out of there.
Yeah.
You're not gonna take that call, guys.
Next thing we got a pin or a nail to inscribe on the candle. They had that are like how many pins do you think are available these days that are straight up iron and not steel or some other metal? Because it needs to be iron. That's why with the nail. It isn't about it being a nail, it's about it being iron. Probably not much. We got optional photos of candidates you are supporting, their campaign literature, or other election materials, which I guess, okay, but you'd be better off getting a lock of hair from them or some spit or something. Optional items from your own spiritual or magical tradition and or photos of people of power. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, perhaps, or as on my altar, my former congressman and Trump foe, the Honorable Elijah Cummings. Holy shit. So, no. just no, you can't. RBG doesn't replace.
I knew Sam would enjoy this.
Plus, she's dead. She doesn't care about you. Oh man, hey, Static, if you're out there, man, you know, and the gal for bringing this to my attention, thanks a lot. I needed this laugh. This is good.
Whatever you were talking about earlier reminded me of it. So
yeah, no, this is fantastic. By the way, we're not actually casting this spell. If we read it, it's just words. You know, the words only have the power that you give them.
Yep.
So.
Could you imagine walking into a freaking like person's house, like you know, for whatever reason, I don't know, visiting another friend or something, and you see a candle with Ruth Bader Ginsburg or Elijah Cummings on it, like on a little altar, like. What do you do with that? Like, I would laugh in their face and offend the living shit out of somebody. I'd be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
I mean, yeah, because it come off like some kind of like simpy shrine, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like
Oh.
I get if I go in your house and you have a little Jesus candle, I'd be like, okay, they're Christian, you know, whatever, cool. But yeah, if you have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg candle, I'm gonna fucking laugh in your face and hope you feel really shitty for the rest of your life about it.
I mean, yeah, if you have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if she's one of your hero or whatever, that's fine. You can put a picture up on a wall, but don't build a fucking shrine to her. That's
It's
creepy.
like it's the candle and one of the little Nick doilies she always had on her fucking her judge thing like around it. So what the fuck is wrong with you?
And I'm pretty sure that RBG wouldn't fucking appreciate that shit either.
No.
I don't know. I'll go down there and ask her.
So, preparation. If you have an altar, use it. If you don't have an altar, clear a quiet private space to service one. A table or a desktop is fine. See, he keeps coming back to this point, which is true, is that you don't actually need all the fancy, expensive fucking, like, you know, blessed under the, you know, waterfall in the full moon light by like three virgins kind of thing. That's not necessary. None of that is necessary. That's mostly just for show. So yeah,
light the candle, then sing "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls." Okay, I get it.
I mean, you know, if it makes you happy. I like TLC. I might do it. If you like incense, burn a fragrance that pleases you. I would say that's advice at any time if you like incense, because
Mhm.
it's, it can make things smell nice, or it can make things smell like patchouli and sandalwood, which is not nice.
I hate all the aqua flavored ones. Like if it's all like blue ocean or some shit, they all smell the same way.
They do. They do. They
Like
all got
soap,
that
like a cheap soap.
yeah, with that like kind of chemical afterburn to it that it's
Yeah.
not very pleasant.
Ocean waves. Smells just like river
Mhm.
must, and it's like a bar of freaking Irish Spring in my nose. Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted.
Use the pin or nail to inscribe the words "blue wave" in the wax of the blue candle. Make sure it's not the red candle, by the way. And you probably shouldn't be using a votive for this, because otherwise you're going to have to scratch it in real tiny.
So I was actually going to make this point. If you're supposed to do this frequently, as often as possible, and use a glass enclosed candle,
That's a lot of candles.
it will slowly get lower and lower, will it not? How are you going to every time be able to reach into the glass depending on how it is?
Oh, you're
So
not. You'd have to carve it into the top of the thing.
Well, no, if you're gal, you just get your step ladder, step down in there, and do it.
But Sam, I'm meaning like once it gets so low, like
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
can't get in there to do it. Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
get a new candle.
I guess you can use like a skewer.
If it's not the same material, like there are certain things that need to be done in terms of rituals consistently. So yeah, you'd have to basically start from scratch with a new candle each time. And if it's got to be one of these glass covered candles, which it doesn't, by the way, but if it's got to be one of these glass covered candles, you're going to be going to Bed Bath and Body Works a lot, and it's not cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make your own candles, I
Maybe
guess.
this person has stock in like candle selling.
I kind of wonder about that myself. Yeah. So you use a pin to scribe blue wave on there. If you're using a prayer novena candle, carve it into the top of the candle near the wick, because you have to, because they're only about a fucking 1.5 inches wide, and they're about like a 1/4 inch tall. So take the printout of the map of the United States and place it on your altar, spaced with your blue paints, markers, and or pencils. Place a justice card on your altar. You can lean it up against the blue candle if you like. If you're using photos or literature of candidates you're supporting, arrange them around the blue candle. Normally there's a specific arrangement that needs to happen depending on a lot of factors, actually. So this is completely unhelpful to anybody.
I can't wait for you to keep reading. I forgot about this. Did we lose you, Sam?
Yeah, we did. You want to read the crap?
No, I need Sam to read it. No fair. Because read, like, if you get to with the pin or nail, carve Trump GOP in the red candle. If your candle is too small to carve, just say, with contempt, you are Donald Trump in the Republican Party. Like a fucking child. I really need Sam to react to this. Because he's going to hate every bit of it.
He'll be back.
I
That's how
know.
this show goes, isn't it? I mean, it's been a while since I've been on, but
Yeah. Oh, fuck. He was the one that was sharing, too. That's funny. I can scroll and use dark mode because I'm not a heathen. There it is.
there he is.
Sam, hello.
Yeah, it happens. That had nothing to do with what we're reading, by the way. That just the signal dropped for a second.
We figured it was the shitternet.
Yeah.
Do you still have it open to share, or do you need me to?
This goes on and on and on and all that stuff. I'm gonna get down to the good stuff rather than the.
No, you can't skip where we were just at. You have to go. No, you can't.
All right, fine.
I need you to read it. I was just making fun of it. Because Devil was just like, do you want to keep reading it? And I'm like, no, I need Sam to read this because I need his reaction.
All right. Well, where were we at? Oh yeah, the Trump candle. All right. So pin with the pin or nail carved Trump GOP in the red candle. I told you that it was about bad shit. If your candle is too small to carve, just say with contempt, you are Donald Trump and the Republican Party while holding the candle. because it has ears and can hear you. That's the other thing about ritual magic, right? The stuff that works takes into account the reality that you fucking live in.
Uh-huh.
And one of those realities is that candles do not have ear canals.
Just think.
Oh, yeah. So yell at it first, and then place it on your altar in front of the blue candle. Lying on its side is fine. Yeah.
That's all. That was the paragraph I needed you to read. Yell at your
Fucking
candle.
stupid.
It'll do what you want it to. Because it's a candle.
No, it won't. Prepare for your. It's just a candle, folks. That's all it is. It's just a candle. It's like when people take those little like quartzes and amethysts and whatnot, and they're just like, oh yeah, this does all this cool stuff. And I was like, I mean, it's a rock.
Yep.
It's just a rock. Some of them have properties that others don't. Yes, some of them can conduct energy. Some of them can store it. Some of them can pass it on. There are things you can do with them, but ultimately, it's really just a rock. Like I said, none of this stuff works outside of the rules of the universe that you are in. It has to work within those rules. There is such thing as mind over matter, but it only goes so far.
But what about this? This is a good suggestion from Andy.
What if you carve an ear in the candle and then yell at the spirit? I mean, if that makes you feel better, go for it. It's not going to hurt anything. This isn't going to work anyway. You know what? They should start cutting those ears off the backs of the fucking mice that they grow them on, and just like hot glue gun them onto this candle.
Oh God.
All the ladies that talk to their house plants are going, I could talk to candles too. Why was I made aware?
It's so fucking funny. Yeah, prepare for your ritual per your tradition if you have one. Meditate for a moment or just take a few deep breaths to center yourself. You are now ready to begin. Well, you don't know if I'm ready to begin or not, bitch.
After you do all of those things, you should be.
Yeah. So this is essentially the setup that they're looking for here. I love the little Pan statue up top, by the way. That's funny. Yeah. Pan doesn't usually get involved in politics. He's mostly just about drinking and rape.
Lovely.
So, and by the way, he's very pro rape. He's half goat. So, okay. So you light the blue candle. We're going to read it out now, guys, but don't worry. This doesn't actually do anything without the mindset to make it happen, which is the only thing that actually matters. None of this other shit that they're talking about matters. And I do not mean this in any way. So we're just going to read the words. It'll be fine. Hear me, O spirits of water, earth, fire, and air, heavenly hosts, and spirits of the ancestors. That is the single most generic invocation I have ever fucking heard.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
I mean, right? That is so fucking generic, right? So normally it opens with a generic line like spirits of, or water, earth, fire, and air. It doesn't always include all four elements. Sometimes it's just the element that's relevant to whatever it is that you're doing. Heavenly hosts just means spirits. That's like calling on everybody all at once. Nobody's going to hear you in that case. Because they're going to be like, who's he talking to? Me? And spirits of the ancestors, please, like your dead ancestors have nothing better to do than sit around waiting for you to fucking call. Come on.
Yeah.
And it says, I call upon you in this hour of need and request your aid to save my country and its people from the grips of tyrants and evildoers. This could have been copied right out of WAPO. Any given article. Raise a mighty blue wave, spirits. So this is where it gets tricky, right? When dealing with things that are of an inhuman nature or a non-corporeal nature, you need to be extraordinarily specific and precise with your words, because sometimes they will take you very literally. So, I mean, this is like, if this dude is in California and they get hit with a fucking tsunami in the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna blame this. You know? Oh man. Yeah, it's you're right, Carrie. It's pretty classic bullshit. You know, this is like the atheist prayer where there's just like, I'm praying to any God that will hear me kind of thing, you know, and yeah, raise a mighty blue wave, spirits, a wave of justice and mercy and truth. Well, so those three things don't always occupy the same space, but whatever. To wash away the corruption and injustice and wickedness of Donald Trump and the Republican Party in a peaceful transition of power. So that last line was tacked in there to make it seem like they weren't actually wishing death upon these guys. That's what that's for. That's to make that isn't for the spell. That's for the reader. It's, you know, Jesus Christ. And then you know, color in the lines. You know, you might as well, like, I'm just going to do a coloring book here, and you could repeat phrases or ad lib as you color on the map, wash away the Nazis, wash away the hate. So, you know, chanting like you're at a rally of some kind or a protest. Yeah, place under a blue candle. Oh, there's more. There's more. Oh, good. So once you're done coloring in your coloring book, you know, yeah, if there's states in which you have a particular focus, you know, maybe spend extra energy coloring them in. You know, you gotta color them in extra hard. Hold out your hands, palms, blah blah blah. Water may wash away corruption and injustice. Earth may bury the rotten sickness of authoritarianism. Fire may you fuel the desire of all good people to vote. Air may you carry truth and honesty in your winds. This is, and then they get to the cursey part. Yeah, you pick up the red candle and you chant a bunch of shit about how by your wickedness you were broken. That's, yeah. Then you say with contempt and fury, your power is broken. Okay, so any real Wiccan worth their salt, by the way, will warn you against exactly this kind of thing. There's a rule called the rule of three. It's very similar to the golden rule, and it means that whatever that you put out into the world, you will get back threefold. So if you put out negative shit, you're going to get your ass handed to you down the road. Satanists also have a rule, except it's the rule of 10. So like if you were to say stab somebody, you're going to get stabbed 10 times kind of thing, right? It's a whole, you know, give and take with the universe, with a karmic balance, that kind of thing. You know, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, not the other fucking way around. This violates that extremely. This is asking for fucking bad karma. Per Wiccan tradition, I might add.
When we were reading it on Static's channel, I was seeing there saying we should troll this person. Like if Donald Trump does win, we should contact them and give them shit saying we use their spell against them and all that kind of crap. We should contact them and say, yeah, you know, Donald Trump won because of our power. Don't fuck with the coven of Samuel the Infamous or some shit. I don't know.
Don't drag my name into this.
Hell yeah, I am. I'm gonna give him your address. What are you talking about?
Oh, that would be so bad. Because I'd be more likely to call him up if I were going to troll this person. I would call him up and be like, "I did everything you said to the letter, man. It didn't fucking work."
I was doing it while I was sitting in a blue bathtub with blue bubble bath.
Right? A blue erection.
I forgot what
made
time
little
it
waves.
was. I gotta go.
Flake.
I just realized.
You're gonna bounce. You're gonna leave us
Yeah.
here. You know, you get us all excited over magic spells and such, and then you just walk out before we've even finished.
Yep.
That's typical. All right, where can people find you?
Green-haired anti-liberal on all the socials. Sorry. Yeah. Wednesdays I do my Cook in the Book streams. I'm continuing Journey to the West. I was not able to do it this past Wednesday because it was a very busy week, but yeah, that's it. Ballbusters I produce for Dermy Wormy. Sometimes I show up on Beelzebub. Yeah, that's me. Sorry.
Okie doke. Well, thanks for being here. Part time.
You're welcome.
It's fine.
You're not going to be able to guilt me like you guilt Shadow. I'm not a 21-year-old.
That's true. That's true. No, we do appreciate you coming by and helping it, and especially bringing this shit to my attention. I am probably not going to read this entire thing because it apparently goes.
It's
This
tedious.
is a fucking involved ritual. Like,
Well,
good God,
Yeah, it
For something
really,
that
really
has-
is.
it doesn't have to be.
It's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, just get a blue candle, light it, and go blue wave, and same thing.
It probably will be just as accurate.
This is like if you want to entice people to come join your religion, right? That you don't go say like, oh well, I'm going to make this accessible for everybody, and then make it as stupidly fucking complex as possible.
What are you talking about? I just invested $400 in crystals and freaking candles yesterday because of this.
Right?
Yeah, I'm all in now.
On that note, I shall go. Have a good
All
night,
right.
guys.
See you
Bye,
later.
chat.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, get stepping, woman.
She says bye, and she's still. And I'm like, what are you doing? So yeah, I don't. This gets into some other shit as it goes down, and then he's all talking about like how it can, this is a positive energy thing. Nothing about this is positive fucking energy. Nothing about it is. It's
The thing that annoys me is that if this person put half as much effort as he did into writing and doing this shit and probably doing his little ritual every 5 times a day, if he just got off his ass, went down and signed up at his local thing and started ringing doorbells, he would accomplish more to help the fucking campaign, right?
Mhm.
Get off your ass and actually do something about it instead of writing a fucking little fake ass spell and sitting there trying to convince people to buy candles and nails and crayons and shit. Just, it's stupid to me.
Yeah. I will read this part here though. This is so it goes down to notes and variants after the ranting and raving and wailing and gnashing of teeth. Please feel free to change the wording to suit your spiritual practice or tradition. Christians and Jews, for example, might omit the 4 directions and spirits and simply say God. Atheists and agnostics can appeal to the universe. Atheists who do not believe that there is a power. Agnostics who are not sure if there's a power can appeal to the universe. Like any atheist worth their salt will tell you the universe does not give a damn.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I have no problem with the idea of it. Like I just like I have no problem with a Christian buying a candle of Jesus, lighting and going, please help Donald Trump, protect this country. That's fine. I'm completely okay. And I'm completely okay with, if you're a Wiccan, lighting a candle and doing some little, chant or whatever that you think is going to help your person. That's no problem to me. I just don't get writing a whole like freaking page thing trying to, like I said, put it all your eggs in the basket that somehow lighting a candle and scratching with a freaking nail is somehow going to prevent Donald Trump from shellacking that freaking hoe bag.
Right. Well, like, you go ahead and, do this in addition to the other things. Like, but you don't want to just, if this is something that you want to do, go for it. That's great. But it's not going to accomplish much if you don't get out there and fucking canvas and vote yourself and do all the things. And, like like I've said, most of the time, shit like this is just a focusing tool, like prayer. I know there are people here who believe that that prayer is more than that, and that, I'm not trying to shit on you, but I'm just saying that a lot of ways to kind of filter out the unnecessary noise and get to the crux of a matter, people will pray. They will talk to God. They will bounce ideas off of him, and it helps focus them and get them on the path that they think they need to be on. This does the same thing. But it doesn't have to be shouted out loud. Hell, nobody even has to know that you're doing. Most of this shit is better done in private anyway, because you look fucking ridiculous doing it. And there are people who believe in this stuff. I believe in some of this stuff. I have done things like this before. It is part of my faith, but it's not like, I don't know. The guy shouldn't be out there being like laying the whole thing out there for the whole fucking world to see in an article of all things. That's retarded. Secondly, you shouldn't be appealing to people of other fucking faiths, especially Christians and Jews, by the way, who have an issue with this kind of thing to begin with. Or atheists who don't believe there's anything to appeal to in the fucking first place. It's like, why don't you compromise everything that you believe for this? Please, just for a second. It doesn't even have to be for very long. Oh, man. I don't want to shit on you. I feel called out now. Yeah, well, maybe you should. So, yeah. Some agnostics do. Some agnostics want to believe that there's a power, but they aren't sure that there is. Traditional agnosticism has a lot more to do with being uncertain about everything than it does about, being certain. I'm with you on this though, Andy. Some agnostics are, believe that there is something there. They just don't know what to call it. And then there's some who don't know what to believe, but I wouldn't call them atheists because they don't believe that there is nothing. Like atheists is very hard line on that. They do have a belief system and it requires there to be nothing. Whereas agnostics kind of on the fence about stuff, to one degree or another, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. Those people are usually searching. Searching sometimes reveals good things in your life. That's a good thing to have. This whole, he even ends it in the fucking Wiccan way. So mote it be. So fun fact, so mote it be is just a Middle English variant of the word amen. It means the same thing. So I guess you could swap that out too. Say amen.
Jesus.
It talks about visualization, blah, blah, blah. Oh, good. Jesus Christ, this is even longer than I thought it was. All right, we're done with this. It's putting that away.
Man.
Yeah. I don't know. I had one other thing I wanted to bring up today, but I don't. It can wait because it's not like a time sensitive topic. It's just a cool topic I thought about. Like about Titanoboa.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah.
No, the actual animal.
Yeah, the prehistoric boa constrictor that was massive. Yeah.
Yeah. I got some stuff on that, an article and some images and stuff, but like that doesn't have, we can do that at any time because it's not, the animal's been dead for 60 million years. It'll be fine. Not going anywhere. Oh, I do want to thank Gal once again for bringing that to my attention, but I'm also kind of like, I'm about talked out about shit now because that was so dumb.
It was like I said, it just, like you said, it seemed like some lame dime store Wiccan bullcrap. Like if somebody bought a freaking candle at some novelty shop and it has a little spell attached to the bottom, like I don't see any real Wiccan ever freaking dealing with that crap. But like I said, it's second time I've heard it through. First time was really lame. So
yeah. There's this guy's clearly Wiccan, but like he's it sounds to me like he's a solitary Wiccan who's trying to encourage coven activity, which is the thing is solitary and coven Wiccans are two different kinds of Wiccans. They actually don't mix very well.
Well, also that's not saying that he's not a solitary Wiccan by choice. A coven might not want nothing to do with his ass.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, get rid of Ted. He's pretty lame.
He's like, just somebody nobody wants to be around. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
I don't know. I'm a lone coven. I'm a coven of one.
Yeah. the whole coven's like putting all their energy into like, Mimi down the street growing a decent garden, right? Hoping the plants are healthy and all of that stuff. And this guy's like, we got to kill all the GOP. And there's like, your energy really doesn't belong here. Wiccan's just trying to get like, dude. And that's the other thing is like male Wiccans. There's a reason that it's generally associated with women. I'm just going to put it there. It's a very, very womanly religion, which hilariously was designed, current modern Wiccanism, Gardnerian Wiccanism specifically, was designed the way it is by men, but it's completely womanized now. But they're still operating as though Gardner is still alive. Anyway, long story short, different kinds of stuff. Not my favorite religious group. They make the rest of us look like a bunch of fucking, you know, I don't know, eunuch pussies. And I don't appreciate that. But I also don't appreciate fucking like these dipshit kids going out and fucking cutting up animals in graveyards and calling themselves devil worshippers, because those two they get all the fucking press and they make the rest of us look like psychos. There's that.
Yeah. Anything that gets a like a fad to it, it just ruins it for everyone who's actually trying to accomplish something.
Yeah. Yeah. And typically people like that don't actually advertise this kind of thing. This is the sort of thing that wouldn't necessarily make the news unless somebody was making a deliberate effort. In fact, I'd be willing to bet he's pissed a bunch of people off by publishing that shit.
Well, probably.
You know, and I don't just mean enemies like you know, Catholics, for example. So, but yeah, it's always a few ruin it for the many. That is a fact. That is a fact. It doesn't matter what the thing is, right? I know several leftists who are not really that bad on their own, but like they've got a bunch of people who are running their fucking mouths on the internet and, you know, at rallies and shit like that, who are making them all look like fucking crazy ass bitches. And they're not all crazy ass bitches. Some of them are, and the loud ones definitely are. But they're really making a problem for everybody else. You know, ever heard of the Seals of Solomon? Yep. Yes, I have. Leaving it at that. So, but that said, we'll probably end it here. You know, like I said, I'm about talked out on this. Unless Devil, you got anything you wanted to bring up today?
No, haven't really been paying too much to anything out there. I'm just trying to get over the cold. Well, the COVID.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But I feel like this was a relatively productive and on topic show today, right? We managed to stay on all the topics. You know, there wasn't too much variance into wild and unexpected places, which is kind of funny because last night's Abyssal Musings, which tends to be a more regimented show, kind of did go to some unexpected and wild places. But there we are, you know, swapping it around, whatever. All right. So that said, Devil, what do you have coming up for everybody?
Oh God, I don't know. On Tuesday we will be doing Get Ranked, special Halloween Scream Queens ranking. That should be fun. After that, it's to the pub next Friday, going into Saturday as always. Then check out. We are starting Me and Iron once my schedule gets to where it's back to normal. We're going to be starting a show called Make Me a Sandwich, which is going to be a funny, fun satire type thing on men's rights kind of thing, and we're gonna look at it through a funny lens. But yeah, so check that out. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. You might see me pop up other places. I don't know.
All right. Good deal. Far as I'm concerned, the next thing I got on the confirmed agenda is Mellow Mondays on Adam the Renaissance Nerd's channel. There might be something coming up Tuesday. I'm working out some details on that. May or may not. I'll let you guys know when it happens, if it happens. And I'm back here for Abyssal Musings on Friday, followed by the pub over on the hub right after that, and then back here to Screaming to the Void. If Exiled Linus goes live tonight, I will probably be over there. There was for those of you who watched it last week, I was not able to make it. I had that IRL thing I had to go do instead. So, but I will be there this week if that happens. So, you can probably find me there. Otherwise, I think this has been a pretty good show. Thank you guys for coming, hanging out, complaining along with us about the state of the world. And I think there was some hopeful shit in there too, which is not really how I roll, but here we are. It happens.
Thanks for coming out and screaming with us.
Yeah. Glad to have Devil back on, even if it's just for now. So that all said, remember, it could always be worse. You could have a Wiccan on your ass screaming blue wave, blue wave, blue wave. Because that would be worse. It's really annoying. It's much worse than fucking flaming cobras. They'll just try to kill you. Not everybody.